Check, check.
Chickity check. Check, baby, check, baby. 1, 2, 3, 4. Check, baby, check, baby.
1, 2.
Hey guys, so man, we're here at 2023 Mr. Olympia competition. Man, it's a tradition we started, I think last year actually. We had Rich Gaspari, Lita Brada here, Dennis Wolf, of course me and Guy, and we just bring some of the legends of the sport together. We had a couple guys that were supposed to join us tonight. They had to cancel last minute. Jose was able to make it. Of course, Guy was still here with us, and
and I'm just here to hear the stories.
Michael's here to hear the stories.
Michael's like the host in the background that like takes notes and then gets us with questions when we least expect it.
Well, he just like throws that jab when you're ready
and
for
you're
it.
like, fuck, I wasn't ready for that one.
You know, we just tell a lot of stories. You know, I think this is something that those backstage stories, those things that happen behind the scenes, on tours, at appearances, in the gym that nobody knows about, and so we're downstairs telling some good ones. And I know we were just talking off mic here a minute ago about some stuff with Muscle Tech.
Yeah.
And you said you're going to save it. I got some Muscle Tech stories too.
Yeah.
But,
I don't know if mine's as interesting, but back in 2008, I submitted one of those before and after challenges. I had spoken to them about a sponsorship. Mm-hmm. And by this time, I'd already won 8 national titles. And they're like, we don't even know who you are. We don't know. I'm like, what do you mean? My brother was with you guys for 5 years. Nah, don't even know who you are.
We didn't know we had a brother.
Yeah. So they're like, we'll let you do the before and after. Lo and behold, I win the before and after. And the deal was, like, we won't give you a dime. We'll give you like $40 worth of protein powder, but we will pay for your contest fees. And I'm like, well, what's the limit of contests? They're like, you can do whatever you want. So in 2 years, I did 11 shows. I made them pay for every one of them. Flight, hotel, meals. And in 2010, I won 2 shows in 8 days. I won the Tampa Pro, and then I won the Hartford, Connecticut Pro, the Europa. And part of the deal was we'd give you 10 grand for each show. So on top of all the flight, hotel, all the expenses, they had to send me like 25 grand. And with that check came a letter that said, we no longer require your services.
I want to get fired like that. Here's 50 grand. Goodbye.
Yeah. Well, back then,
We can make that happen, guy.
This was
Easy.
13 years ago. And I laughed my ass off. I was like, you know, you could have easily just offered me something stupid like $2 grand a month, and you would have got your money's worth. Instead, you tried to lowball me because they were betting on me to suck.
dude, they did that shit to everybody.
Yeah, they wanted me to suck, but then I hit my stride and won 2 shows back to back, and they fired me. Fired me for winning.
Dude, they were ruthless, man, back in the day.
Yeah.
You know, I turned pro 2001. Like, you know, we all did nationals together.
Yeah.
Well, Johnny signed with them pretty quick after that, and then I don't think he said something about me that he worked out with me or something. Blah blah blah. Of course, they knew who I was because we just won the nationals, and so 2 months later, I signed with them, and you know, Johnny signed some deal, like a 5-year deal, right? Well, that's the worst thing you can do when you're a new pro, is sign a 5-year deal. You don't want a 5-year deal. You want like a one-year deal with a couple years options on it or something.
Yeah.
And put some clauses in there you can renegotiate, get some bonuses, have a future. Well, you know, Johnny went qualified for Olympia right off the bat. I took off almost 2 years to make improvements, and you know, so fast forward, I started doing well, but I had built my contract to where I could get paid, and so I'm making money, and Johnny's like, fuck. And I'm like, bro, you didn't do this? He goes, you signed that shit they gave you? He's like, fuck yeah, man. He goes, you know, I'm thinking, fuck, I'm finally making money doing this. But I'm like, dude, you've already won several shows, done this, and this. And he's like, I know, man. And so he had to like ride it out for 5 years. Because, man, they would sue you for anything. So fast forward a few years, I'm doing good. And I'm freaking top 2 in the world.
I'm freaking Branch Warren.
You know, I'm killing it. And I want to freaking, you know, it's time to make money, right? Because back the heyday of bodybuilding back then. So they said, I had like a 1-year option on my contract, and they said, we want you. I said, well, I want this, and this to do it, to keep going. They go, we don't do that. We want to sign you for the same deal for this 1 more year. And I said, no, I'm out, because I already had 2 offers on the table, way better. And so I'm like, peace out, see you. Well, I signed with Gaspari, and I remember I go to the Arnold Classic, man, and I'm at the Gaspari booth, which is across the aisle from the Muscle Tech booth, and all these little Muscle Tech guys like, ooh, and of course Chris Camille was there, and he goes, man, he don't give a fuck. and so next week I get served with papers, right? I'm being sued by Muscle Tech. I'm like, whatever. So I go to court with them like 5 times, win every time. And but the problem was they had so much money, they just keep re-suing you.
Yep.
They had like, I don't know, 6, 7 attorneys on staff. They're paying them the same whether they're doing anything or whether they got 50 cases.
What was the problem? Was it non-compete? You couldn't.
No, there was no problem. It's just that's what they did. Like they had so much money, they knew they could.
They wanted you to buckle at the knees because
Yeah,
they could drain
they-
you with
they
lawyer
could-
fees.
They could spend $250,000. That ain't shit to them. $250,000 to me is a lot of money.
It sounds like a sour
It'll bank-
ex-girlfriend.
it'll
They don't
bankrupt
want
you.
you, but
They don't want someone
you
else to
be
have
with
you.
Yeah,
someone
what they
else.
did though, because I kept winning the cases because they knew they really didn't have a case. They go to Rich and threaten to sue Rich. Rich is like, hey man, he goes, I showed him my contract, sat down with the attorney. He goes, all right, you ain't done nothing wrong. He goes, but I don't want to get in a court battle with these idiots and spend a bunch of money. Contracts on hold until you get this figured out.
Yeah.
And so then we go back to court with Muscle Tech. So at the end of the day, my attorney's like, look man, we got to settle this. He goes, because they're just gonna bleed you. And he goes, I can get it settled in your favor, but it's not going to be. You're not supposed to be with them for another year or two, and so that's how it eventually. I came out ahead. I didn't get what I wanted, so I had to tough out another year with them, and then by that point, everybody was jumping ship. It was down, I think, to me. I think Jay had already left. It was me, Phil, and Johnny were left out of like 17, 18 guys.
And Ronnie from Jersey Shore.
Ronnie from Jersey Shore. Yep. And
They fired everyone to
That's
sign that
crazy.
idiot.
And how'd that work out?
Awesome. Him
Now,
and
that being
Snooki lived
said,
happily ever after.
you know, Paul, you know, I'll be forever grateful to Paul, the owner. You know, he gave me the opportunity to live my dream and as a pro bodybuilder. But, you know, it was a bittersweet,
It's like the
Deal.
corporate bullshit.
total corporate
Yeah.
bullshit.
It's really strange and disappointing how that whole thing went because they were the bodybuilding.
They were like the pinnacle of bodybuilding supplement
Right.
companies.
But they did what so many companies do. Okay, Gold's Gym. I'm not talking about Venice. I'm just talking about the chain.
Yeah.
What started the fitness craze?
Bodybuilding.
All those guys at Gold's Gym on Venice Beach, right?
Yep.
All right. Now all of a sudden, you go to a corporate Gold's Gym, they don't want us in there.
Right.
You know, and it's the same thing with the supplement companies. You know, that's what makes them, built them, right? Look at Muscle Tech. They were the most hardcore, biggest bodybuilding supplement company in the world
Yep.
because of us,
Yep.
right? And
Once
then
they
all-
got to
then all of a
Walmart-
sudden it gets up to a certain point and it kind of starts to plateau out. And they said, well, you know what? They bring some new guys in. They said, why are you paying all these guys all this money and doing all this? Man, people don't look like that. Get rid of these guys. Let's go mainstream. Let's go UFC or let's go whatever. Well, they do that, and look what happened. They tank.
I mean, I remember
Over
going
and
to-
over again, you see it.
in the early days of my pro career, you could go to Venice, and if you were it was either if you were pro or you were top whatever, top 10,
You
top
get in
15
for free.
Olympia, you get in for free.
Yeah.
They charge fucking every motherfucker. They don't care now. And listen, I'm not. That's not a knock because I do understand that there's a lot of pro cards, but
Dorian got charged.
yeah, you know, like that's
He's
insane.
on the
That's
wall.
wrong with there.
I mean, listen, who was I talking about it today? I was texting somebody. Oh, Nick Walker. We were going back and forth about being charged, and I was like, man, I said I've been charged at. I offer to pay at every gym that I go to because businesses don't stay. Gyms don't stay in business if you don't pay for day passes or memberships. So, you know, my buddy Bob, who's a new pro, is sitting here. He owns a gym too, and like, it's no different than like when you have a clothing or like, you know, clothing company. You want to give out clothes, right? You know, and promote it and market it, but at the same time, can't give out everything or you're never going to make money. So, you know, it's weird. You know, people are like, oh, I got charged. And it aggravates me sometimes, but then I'm like, well, gyms can't stay in business if they're not charging day passes, they're not charging memberships. Like, everything doesn't come free. But like the
But
bodybuilders
they making
with
money off
gyms-
of Branch Warren?
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. With certain people in the gym and pros in the gym, that's going to attract
Right.
the outside influencers to want to come in and see the gym. So if somebody sees Branch wearing Gasp or let's say Phil Heath, or if they got that shirt for free, the ROI on that's going to be huge because people are going to see it's like a billboard, right? But where do you draw the line? Because now it's IFBB cards used to be here. Now IFBB Pro cards are here. So it's like if I'm going to give out this many shirts to this many people, but now I got to give out this many shirts to this many people. It's like where do you say, all right,
No,
enough's
you
enough?
give it to a name.
You know,
You know, but
that's
I think it's respect. It's what I think it is because.
Yeah, but can
okay,
you respect a pro that just turned pro who's
Okay.
a fucking nobody? That's
hear me
that's
out.
my question.
Hear me out. Okay, there's pros, and then we all know who the real pros are. Let's be real here. A lot of people get pro cards now. They shouldn't have pro cards. I'm just gonna be real. All right, they get pro cards out like it's freaking free.
Tic Tacs.
Tic Tacs, right? I mean, so they give them out like freaking vaccine shots. They're free everywhere. Everybody get one that wants one. You know, so
That might have to get peeked out.
but it's true. And and you go to Venice Beach of all places. When I turned pro,
That was the place.
so I flew out there like 2 days later. They flew me out there. I walk in. I've never been there in my life. I walk in the front desk like, Brand Schwarm, man, congratulations. And I was like, holy shit, they knew who I am. Man, I was like, wow. And you go in there and you're talking to everybody, you're seeing all the pros. And in that gym, we were the celebrities. I mean, I remember seeing so many rock stars in there, pro athletes, movie stars or something. They wanted to come up and take pictures with you. You're like, holy shit,
Yeah.
you know, and it was cool. And now, because of it's changed and it's become corporate, they don't give a shit who you are. You know, Dorian Yates walk in there, hey man, $40.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so they're cutting their own throat by doing that because now the center of the bodybuilding universe used to be right there. It ain't there no more. We got more bodybuilders in Texas than there is anywhere else in the world now. And it's because of it all started right there. It started right there and it ended right there.
And then you can just imagine how it is at our home-based destination.
Yeah.
You know, with all these pro cards going on, you know, in the world, and we have so many people coming that you know, you have to be very, very, you know, have a strong character to stay the ground
Yeah.
on giving the pros access to the facility
Yeah.
when they are not maybe really pros, you know.
I mean, I could tell you that just real quick, that one day Juan Morel walked down to my gym. I'm in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, little town, and Juan Morel walks in the door and he goes to hand me a day pass. And I'm like laughing at him. He's like, what? I'm like, I don't want your money. You're fucking Juan Morel. He's like, no, I want to pay. I'm like, you're not paying to work out at my gym. Like, please go. And I think that maybe it doesn't need to be expected from an athlete, but I think it should be something that, like, when you see an owner do that,
Yeah.
like MJ,
Yeah.
like, you're going to gravitate towards that
Yeah, of course.
type of person and that type of owner and want to give them your time.
Yeah.
And it's going to benefit them.
Yeah.
Right?
And then it's reciprocated back
Yep.
because then we like to give.
Right.
And of course everybody has a story and everybody is important in their own world, you know. So I think for me it's important to give and kind of like, you know, to give more and then, you know, hopefully, you know, it comes to me
Full
later,
circle.
you know. Yeah, it comes later, you know. So I'm not so worried about money, and I feel like it's good that we have a little bit of that attitude, because otherwise it would be like a whole different place, you know.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us go to a gym, a local gym,
And expect things.
and expect
No.
to be let in. But as Brian said, when we go visit Gold's Venice, when we're what made that.
I mean, I walked in there last time. It was in 2019, and I walk in. They're going to try it, and I have no problem paying. I pay
No,
memberships at
of
gyms
course.
all the time. You know, I don't expect that, and but that, like you said, that place is different, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I walked in, and they're like $40, and I'm like, and I was with Scott, and Scott goes, man, his freaking picture's on the wall, man. Kid don't know, kid don't care. I'm like, I just pulled out $40 and paid. I'm like, I'm not even, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just different, man. And,
See, when we did a seminar a couple weeks ago at Apollon Gym, and there was this thing there about being an IFBB pro, and this is the problem, and this can go back to the gym thing, right? Somebody who turns we were talking about Instagram and titles and putting IFBB in front of your name, and if you need to, and if you're a good pro, you know, people know you're a fucking pro. You don't need to put IFBB pro Guy Cisternino, right? So I'm not throwing shade at the guy that said it, but he was like, well, I'm big with status, and if you're a pro, IFBB should be in your name. And the problem that I have with that is when you turn pro and you put IFBB in front of your name, you are putting yourself in a class of people that have done a lot of great things. And if you've never even competed as a pro, you get the benefit of that, because now you are putting yourself in a class of people of hierarchy that have done a lot of things. And guys that have been IFBB pros that have competed and won shows and went to the Olympia and placed well or won Arnold Classics like Branch or, have 20-something wins or like you're a different IFBB pro than, let's say, Bobby, who turned pro last year and has never competed. So can you even call Bobby a pro if he turned pro but never fucking competed in a pro show? Because if you're a pro, a professional means you have competed in a professional event. So if you turned pro at an amateur show and never competed as a pro, are you actually a fucking pro?
If you play on the practice squad in the NFL, are you still in the NFL? You're not Travis Kelce, the third string quarterback.
I think you're right, but I think they preface with, I'm on the practice squad.
Right.
That's what they say.
And I think
they don't say, I'm in the NFL.
Way.
They'll be like, I'm on the.
It's the same way.
Those guys will say NFL player.
Well, they're also
Travis
making.
Kelce will say Travis Kelce.
Right. Yeah,
exactly.
Where
but
the Branch Warren or the Boston Mass. Nowhere does it say IFBB Pro because we don't have to.
Well, you're right, and also on top of that, those guys are getting salary paid. If you're a real IFBB pro and done well, you've gotten fucking paid because you've won fucking shows and you've done what you need to do at the top. And if you're not collecting paychecks, then you ain't. You can't be that good.
You know something? When I turned pro, I didn't even. People say, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" I said, "Man, I own a gym in Texas."
Yeah.
That's what I said because I didn't feel.
Well, that was kind of true.
It was. But,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But my point being is, I didn't feel. Even as a pro, and I'd won a couple shows, I still didn't feel I deserved to be a pro bodybuilder. When I thought of a pro bodybuilder, I thought of Dorian Yates. I thought of Ronnie Coleman. I thought of. I'm like, those are pro bodybuilders, right? Yeah. It took me a long time to get comfortable saying, "Yeah, what are you doing?" I was like, "I'm a pro bodybuilder."
So you started winning 2 Arnolds in a row.
And, because I instinctively knew it's like, yeah, I'm a pro, but am I really a pro? And it's this is even back in the day when we came up when it was hard to be pro.
Yeah.
And so I think there is a difference. That's a good question. What gives you that right? And I did a seminar in Texas not long ago. And,
And I'm just going to, because I was talking about it, I did have that mindset when I first turned pro. When I first turned pro, the first thing I wanted to do was tell everybody, put it everywhere, fucking promote it, tattoo it, fucking put it on shirts and hats and this. But as you progress, you're like, oh, there's a lot more that comes with being a pro bodybuilder than just winning a pro show. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot more that comes to that. And I think that's why my feeling towards putting that title in front of your name, I think that needs to come with some accolades and some feathers in your cap before you start ranting and raving how you're a fucking pro bodybuilder.
I agree with that. And what I was just about to say was I did a seminar not too long ago in Texas. There was like 14, 15 people on the panel. Everybody's pro, right? And they asked everybody to introduce themselves. And it starts with, there's 4, 5, 6 people in front of us. And they're up there speaking, I'm so-and-so, I'm pro, I did this. And they go on like these long speeches, right? All this stuff. And they get to me, and I go, hey, you guys know who I am, right? They're like, yeah. I go, I ain't going to bore you with a 5-minute introduction about who I am or what I did.
Jerk myself off.
And I flipped the microphone to Johnny, and Johnny goes, yeah, what he said. And he flips it to the next one or something. And I'm like, it was kind of a little jab to everybody who was doing that.
But it's to prove a point.
It's to prove a point. And it's like, if you got to sit there and tell everybody who you are,
how good are you?
You ain't did shit
ain't
yet.
too well known.
So don't call yourself a pro yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because my point being, when I was up and coming, I never did that. I would have just been like, I remember doing similar thing. I'm Branch Warren. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me. Thank you all you guys for coming. And I'd pass the microphone to the next person.
Thank the Lord. Thank you guys. And thank my family.
My thing is stay humble. And when you're truly a pro, everybody gonna know who you are anyway. Yeah. You ain't got to tell nobody.
Well, they'll let you know.
Yeah.
It's a complete different world now.
Yeah.
Well, it's utilized as a marketing tool now. IFBB Pro. People can't wait to put that on their Instagram. So now they're a coach. They don't know what the hell they're doing, but they're coaching. Yep.
Did you have a coach when you were coming up?
Hell no.
Neither did I.
No. I went to school. I studied nutrition. I studied exercise physiology. I had an older brother who was a bodybuilder and
who you kind of like shadowed a little bit.
Yeah,
followed
of course.
And,
of course.
Learned from.
But I learned from trial and error, and it wasn't until I was 37 years old when I started with Chris Aceto. So I had already won like 5 or 6 pro shows.
Same here. I was 33, 34.
Yeah.
I started when I was 17.
Yeah.
And fucking bugs, man, attacking me.
They're like Texas-sized bugs.
That's the damn swamp bug,
Fucking grass mat.
big ass bug.
But to be honest, it was the best decision I ever made because at 37 years old, I was able to put on 10 pounds of lean muscle at a time where people would be like, "You."
And you were natural when you turned pro because I was mad when you turned pro and beat
that's-
me, and I was like,
Yeah,
you were natural.
and you
But-
I
weren't.
wasn't.
And imagine how, like hard it was back then to do that.
Yeah.
And now everybody has the prep coach, and everybody's like,
And I'm almost 9 years older than Guy, so my maturity level was extremely surpassed where he was at.
I had the young muscle look. You
And
can
Yeah.
tell.
I think what you said is very, very important. I think that's a striking difference. I'm not going to say this against everybody because there are exceptions. There are a lot of people exceptions, but I would say overall, we educate ourselves. There was no
Absolutely.
coaches or gurus, so you got to learn what a carb and a protein and this and that. Learn the body physiology to learn how to diet, right?
Yeah.
And the guys in the gym, the older guys, kind of gave you the blueprint, but then you kind of had to figure it out and teach yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And I did the same thing. I didn't major in that, but I studied it, and I spent a lot of time reading, studying, and about nutrition, diet, what a protein is, what a carb does, how does your body break it down, how does it assimilate it, all these things, so that I could educate myself, so I could be better in bodybuilding. And then I learned real quick, what works in a book and in theory doesn't necessarily translate into real world results. Because you get a college educated nutritionist and try to get them to train a bodybuilder, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's what people don't do now. They don't educate themselves. They just get a coach. They hire a coach. Maybe it's a good coach. Maybe it's a bad coach.
Yep.
And then after they do 1 or 2 shows, they think they're an expert and they want to train people.
What I always say is even the best coach is going to have issues if you don't know what the hell you're doing. So it's up to you to be able to communicate with the coach. If you're like clueless, you could have Hani, you could have Aceto. They're not going to be able to help you if you're completely clueless.
yeah, because you can't understand what you do
Right.
needs to happen.
You can lead the horse to the water, but you can't make it drink.
Exactly. That's a prime example of that. Because you should already have an idea of what works for you. So I could tell him right away. He'd be like, I have 8 potatoes after you train. I'm like, dude, I'll shit my pants. I can't. And be like, okay, then have rice, But some people don't even know that about themselves.
I remember George. I talked with George for 6 months before I agreed to let him train me. And
Test the war field.
and I talked. We had a bunch of conversations about it. A lot of phone calls. Talked in person a couple times for at length, and because I was already doing good, but I hadn't. I wanted that one more step to get to the very, very top, and I'm like, if I'm gonna turn this over to somebody, it's gonna be I'm gonna interview you,
Yeah.
and it was a long deal, and finally I turned it over to him, and the very first show I went from like fucking 12th in Olympia to 2nd, and
That was 09
09.
with George. I didn't know that.
First time I ever worked with anybody.
That was the craziest physique ever.
I thought he was going to take it. I was there. I watched it in the audience.
It was. You could make that argument, but both of you were absolutely bananas that day.
Well, he came in, Jay, his lightest body weight ever at the Olympia.
252 or
Yeah,
something.
best look he ever had, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If he was any other look, you would probably
I
could
got
have
him.
gotten
So,
him.
man, that's fucking Honey's fault. I told Honey that a couple years ago. I said, I'm so mad at you. He said, why? I said, if you're gonna work with Jay, I'd have had 1, maybe 2.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
He started laughing, but but it is what it is. But back to the coach thing, I made the right decision, and I think but I took a long time, and I knew enough about nutrition and training. I knew myself that I wasn't gonna just let anybody work with me or whatever. And,
Let me ask you a question. What was different?
He had me eating way more food than I have a big appetite. I think. All right, and so I ate a lot of food,
don't stop
I
eating.
knew instinctively. I think the biggest mistake amateurs make, and even a lot of pros, they won't let themselves eat enough food for the show, especially at the end. They starve themselves, they come in flat.
Yeah.
So I ate a lot of food, but the amount of food he wanted me to eat I was like, yo, you sure about this, bro? And he's like, you gotta trust me. And I remember starting the diet for that prep, 09 Olympia. Trish even goes, are you gonna get in shape eating this much freaking food? And I said, well, I'm gonna give it 2 weeks, because we're 12 weeks out. And I said, in 10 weeks I can still
Turn it around.
turn it around and get get right. And I'm eating so many carbs, bro. I mean,
Barely doing cardio too.
I'm like 800 to 1,000 grams a day. I mean, I'm just
Wow.
eating. But I had a fast metabolism. And, dude, every week I just got better and better and better.
And
There
we
ain't no
maxed you out at
there
20.
ain't no prep. No prep for Olympia is easy. I don't give a shit who you are. But it was the easiest prep I'd ever done. And I mean, I was having to like make myself eat. It was so much food. And I mean, I was doing 20 minutes of cardio, wasn't shit. Get up in the morning, walk my bulldog, come back, eat. And I was strong as a horse. I was setting strength records getting ready for the Olympia. And I'm like, showed up, looked like I did. And I'm like, and I remember got to the hotel room that night. I go, I got it figured out now. It's on.
Do you think there was a mental portion of that played a bigger role? The fact that you gave it over to someone else and your mind went somewhere else and you trusted someone else and you were able
Take
to
stress
just,
off you.
Yeah. Because I find it hard to believe that eating, a few hundred more carbs a day and doing less cardio would make you that much harder. But it did.
But I think it's also the right combination, because I knew you since 2008, and you always had really good cardio ability.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of bodybuilders, their cardio sucks.
Yeah.
And they think they train hard because they huff and puff, and in reality they just got bad cardio.
Yep.
So when you have someone with a really good cardio like that,
Yeah.
who can then eat because the metabolism is really good,
Yeah.
then it becomes like a really good combo.
Well, I have a question for you, because you coming from Sweden, and a lot of people might not know this about Michael, but being the owner of Gasp and Better Bodies, Michael was also a bodybuilder. And he loved bodybuilding because he has one picture that I've seen. It's fucking. He has one bodybuilding picture of everything.
I'm trying to hide them.
And it's actually pretty fucking crazy because he looks wild and he's got crazy quad sweeps.
They
But
still got them calves.
yep. But how different was it in Sweden? Like, did you have a coach back then? Did you have to figure things out yourself? Because I have to think that in Sweden, bodybuilding, it's not as big right now as it is in the States, so it had to be even smaller back then. So
Yeah.
how did you navigate, like, getting ready for a bodybuilding show with, like, really not having that
think-
much knowledge of bodybuilding just due to where you lived, primarily?
Yeah. No, I think that's huge. I think I grew up in a Metroflex Arlington, similar place in the sticks of Sweden. And of course we were training hard. We were training like
In the gym, we saw that you trained. That was awesome.
Yeah, and we have the similar mentality as Branch without knowing it. But I didn't grow up next to Ronnie Coleman or something like
Nino.
that. Yeah, exactly.
Why are you laughing so hard?
Yeah, that was funny. So,
Who was in Sweden?
no, so
There was some good ones.
yeah, there was some good ones, but nowadays I think it's easier with knowledge and how
Internet.
the world is so much more global, and you can make connection with anybody like in all around you. But back then it was like you were kind of like in your little group.
So who kind of pushed, like, who was the guy that, like pushed you towards bodybuilding? Was it the gentleman that owned that gym that we met when we were there in Sweden, in your hometown?
Yeah, I think, of course, over time you get to know people all over
Yeah.
Sweden, but it's kind of isolated up there in the north anyway. So it's hard to really get it, and you need to do it with time. So when you're 25, certain stuff you need to know certain stuff at 25, because
Yeah.
at 27 it starts to be too late, and 30 you're kind of like behind, and then
So when did you make the decision to, like, okay, I love bodybuilding, but you did what? How many shows?
Can I done? Maybe 5, 6, something like that.
And what made you go?
Yeah, because my goal was so big. I wanna. When I started, when I was like 17 or something,
Yeah.
16, 17.
You started super young.
Yeah. And my first show was that I went to see was actually 1987, Mr. Olympia in Gothenburg.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was my first bodybuilding show I ever saw, and I saw Lee Haney, and then I saw Rich Gaspari take second.
Wow.
And then,
So you never
Lila
watched
Brother.
bodybuilding show, and
That's a great show.
That's
Lila
awesome.
Brother got third, I think, right?
Yeah, Lila Brother third, and today I kind of like know these guys and know, like
Surreal.
So yeah, but my goal was so big to be up there so early, and when I realized that maybe I was 27, I felt like I can do this, but in a different way.
Yeah.
I can do exactly the same stuff besides being in trunks up on the stage. And I felt like, when me and Branch talking a little bit about, background and history
Yeah.
and the feelings and, kind of what you experienced and stuff, I feel like a lot of similarities. It's just that I haven't been on the stage.
Yeah. What? How does it make you feel watching the guys at the Olympia back then and even now, and then go on social media and you see that like 99% of them all have Gas for Better Bodies in some way, shape, or form? And I mean, that's got to be
it makes
pretty
me,
fucking cool.
Yeah, it makes me proud.
Even people that aren't
Yeah.
sponsored by Gas, if you're a bodybuilder or you're in this bodybuilding world, something in your closet says Gas for Better Bodies. I mean, it's and that's got to be fucking.
I was doing photo
Fucking
shoots
awesome.
for years
With
without
Per Burnell?
without knowing what it was.
Yeah.
I got a great story right here.
Yeah.
You're gonna love this one, Branch. It's the day after the New York Pro. I had won
What year was this?
2013.
Flex?
No,
Was that the year you beat?
no, I beat Sammy.
Oh, I'll have that. That was last minute. You
Yeah.
jumped in last minute
Yep,
that show, right?
yep.
You weren't going to compete.
I had done the New York Pro 4 years in a row. I didn't want to do it again, and I was knocking on the door. So I'm like, I don't want to compete. So I was gonna do Toronto the week after, and I get a call that says, "Hey,
Yeah, I know who this was.
yeah, you're about to."
Just
Yeah,
by
I
the
know
face
exactly
he
who that
made.
was. We all got that call.
Yeah. So I was guest posing that weekend, the same weekend of the New York Pro, and I got a call and said, "You're going to get a fine. It's a non-sanctioned event, $10,000 fine." I'm like, "I ain't got 10 G's. What do you mean?" It's like, "Well, you can come down and do the show then." All right.
Gotcha.
He's like, "Are you in shape?"
I'm
like,
gonna make
"Yeah,
you an
I'm
offer
in
you
shape."
can't refuse.
So I went there. Yeah. Exactly.
make him an offer.
You can't refuse.
Yeah. I went down. I win the show. The next day, I'm shooting at Bev's, and
Keeping your check.
I'm shooting with
Working
Pear.
that 10K off.
Exactly.
You ain't giving your money and
So
you get a free photo
here's,
shoot.
here's the moral of the story. Pear starts pulling out gas tank tops
Out of
gas
that bag.
pants, out of a bag, and I'm like, "Oh, awesome, great, put it on." And Steve comes over and goes, "No, motherfucker, put that shit back in your bag. You're using NPC wear." And we're like, "Oh, I thought they were kidding. I don't know, but I think they were. I think Steve was kidding, but yeah, but Pear, it was totally confusing because they were kidding, but they weren't kidding. He wanted us to wear NPC stuff if you're in Bev's, and Pear had a big bag of gas stuff. So I didn't give a shit. I'll wear whatever you want." And then they start like playing around, and Pear puts his hands up and is like, "Oh yeah, yeah, like this." And Steve's like, "What?" Knocked him out. Are you kidding me? Pear goes like this. Are you kidding me? He knocked him out. Fell right on his chest.
Dude, how'd I never hear this before?
And Steve looks at me and goes, and I'm like, I don't know. And then and Steve looks at me. He's like, "You saw him. He hit me first." And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck just happened.
He went, whoopsh, like it's a whip.
No, because he didn't mean to do it. He threw a quick jab, and Pear stepped into it, and it just straight knocked him out.
Hit that button.
Yeah.
Hit the button
yeah.
on that jaw.
And you know Perry had the goggles on. And he's lucky he had the goggles on because it would have hit him in the cheek and split him open. And he woke up and was crying. And we were all dying. Me and Kevin English. Yeah.
He burned his shit.
His glasses were goggles. They were goggles. You remember? They were gigantic glasses. It
Dude, they
saved
make
his life.
them black rim motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
saved his life. Kevin English went
But
and
that's
got
like
ice.
a little bit like sad story.
No, it wasn't
Nice,
sad. It
Adam.
was hilarious. If you've ever done a photo shoot with Pear, you probably wanted to knock him out yourself.
Yeah, I got some pair stories. For
I'd be doing like it's a day after the show. He's like, okay, let's do front squats.
405.
Can you put one more plate? Yeah, okay, boom. Okay, how about one more plate? I'm front squatting 450 the day after a
Motherfucker
show.
said, one more. Finally, yeah, after 10 years of that shit, I go, Pear, if I had $1 for every fucking time you said one more,
Yeah.
I'd be a fucking billionaire, bro. I'd be done with this shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's okay. He started laughing. Okay, one more.
Exactly. His shoots would last like 3.5 hours.
But in the,
in the early days,
he would get the best picture. That's what sucked.
he did.
that's why you tolerate him, because he was the best.
Yeah.
He did.
Dude, my first
And
photo
he
shoot
shot
that-
with him.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
first shoot I did with that motherfucker, and I love Pear. Dude, it was me and Johnny, and of course, we're in the gym in California. Dude, 8 hours.
Yeah.
We shot every body part. And dude, and you're, like you said, you ain't just lifting weights, you're lifting like heavyweight. And it's like 2 days after the show or something.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like, all right, you know,
He
it's
don't
like,
care.
No, he don't care. I'm like, what the fuck? And by the end of the day, I look at Johnny, I go, man, fuck, man. Because we were going to work out afterwards. I'm like, yo, bro, I'm going to the hotel. He goes, yeah, me too, man.
Did you ever use fake weights with him?
So
No. Hell no.
Pear would let you use fake weights.
Well, no. When I was in Cali after I turned pro in 08, I was shooting with me, Mike Libatori, Ed Nunn, and Mark
That's 'cause you were
Dalvisi.
tiny.
No. There was fake fucking Mike Libatori took a 45 and threw it at me from across, and
Oh.
I've never seen a fake play before in my life, and I picked up, it was like 2 pounds. It was
Was that for
exactly
Iron
Like a
Man?
Frisbee.
Iron Man used fake weights.
What do you mean Iron Man?
Iron Man magazine.
Iron Man.
No. This is MD. This is for fucking MD. We got flown out to Cali after Nationals in 2008.
yeah, that's bullshit. But I need to ask, what the hell did you wear?
Bullshit.
Where I wore Gasp.
Of course. Thank
If you go back and look at all my stuff, it's all Gasp, Better Bodies. Gasp made my junk look better.
Yeah.
I know how you guys roll. You make
Yeah.
it look nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I still wear Gasp today. Otherwise, it looks like a mushroom.
You lost an inch there too.
Yeah. Hey. I'm
That right
getting
there,
old.
hey, that right there is probably the best sales ad for gas we ever had.
If you ain't got it, you can pretend like you do,
If you wear Gasp shorts, it makes your junk look good.
Yeah.
like you got a cup on,
Yeah.
like your fruit
It
cup.
turns it into a portobello instead.
Yeah,
of
it looks, makes it
baby
look
mushroom.
like 2 peaches and a banana.
Right.
That's good.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
It's a
good
great
stuff.
material. You can read Braille through the shorts.
So I got to tell you, it's the first time I met him.
Oh, here we go. Oh, wait, this is not a funny. This is a good story.
That's a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I met you and you came up to me, and I'm thinking, he started walking up to me, I'm like, all right, this motherfucker going to talk about working out or fucking.
I was like,
shit.
I know how to get to. I was
And,
like, I was a fan of his.
And he came up or something, and he started talking about hunting. Man, we sit there for 45 minutes,
Yep.
an hour, talking about hunting. I talk in because you know how it is. Everybody wants to talk to you about working out and this and that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, God dang, man. And he comes up, he starts talking about deer hunting and hog hunting. And I'm like, dude, and we just,
Yeah. Fucking clicked like that
Yep.
every day since. Yeah, it was weird to me because I followed because I was competing against you coming up, right? But there wasn't a lot of guys that I could really relate to because bodybuilding where I came from was like, I hunted, I fished, like nobody really did any of that stuff. So you had to be attracted to the physique that you wanted to be or the attitude of the person. So, the shorter guy like Lee Priest, right? There was the original Johnny Killer, Danny Padilla. Do you remember him? Danny Padilla?
know Danny.
He was fucking
Yeah.
peeled out of his
He's
mind. I
badass.
loved him. Remember, I don't know if you guys remember a gentleman, he didn't compete for a long time, Caprice Murray.
that's
Who
who I
just
beat in
talking
the
about?
We were just talking about Kareem, the
Right
T
here?
Nationals.
Yeah.
Downstairs. Yeah.
Well, I wasn't there.
He
but I
won the
didn't hear that.
middleweights when I won the T Nationals in '93.
Caprice Murray had a crazy physique.
freak.
Crazy legs. He just had. I don't
He had
even.
everything. He looked
got
like a
really
cartoon
sick.
figure.
He did. He was crazy.
Yeah.
But Branch and Johnny's videos, I still have. Do you remember? Because I worked at GNC coming up. Do you guys did those Muscle Tech DVDs?
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, and there was like you, Johnny, Chris, Matt Duval, Jay.
They spent like $500,000. We were there for like 4 days in a studio.
They were free.
shooting those. Yeah, they gave them out for free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got one if you want it. But watching you and Johnny train, and Kevin Laveroni I was a big fan of because he had like that mentality that he just like shut everybody out and just like zoned out. But you and Johnny train in the gym, like people always like, why do you like the way you train? You almost like you act like Branch, and I'm like, because that's kind of that's what I wanted to do. Like I wanted to mimic how you guys trained in the gym, because to me that's what I loved. It wasn't the stage, it was the bodybuilding. You said it, I've said it before. We're not bodybuilders because we love to bodybuild. We love training.
Some people train because they're bodybuilders.
Yep.
I was a bodybuilder because I
you
love
love to train. And that's why people are like, for me, you have injuries, your hip, your shoulder, my knees, my fucking shoulders, my back. You got your shoulder problems. But being in the gym is why I don't feel like I'm retired. Because like what we did today, like I don't have to grab 120-pound dumbbells. I don't do it that often. But when I know I still have it in me to do it, and that's the stage for me now. Like that's what I fucking love, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. We were talking about the Jay thing downstairs. Yeah. You're like Jay goes through but Jay says it. He's like, I just get a pump. For some reason, there's something in my brain that doesn't allow me to go to the gym to just get a fucking pump. Like MJ, like when you go on the track to ride your fucking motocross, or you go on the fucking the Eagles Canyon Raceway, like when you're doing that because you want to fucking be better. Like you want to get good at it, and it doesn't matter if you're a pro or not. Like the goal is to get better, and like that's your passion. You're not gonna go fucking putz around on a motor track course.
Ask Branch if we were puttering around when we went to Hunter and train at Hunter's gym.
I show you on the ground.
It's a good workout.
Yeah.
Damn good workout.
You trained with Hunter?
No, I've never trained with Hunter. But no, we went down to see Hunter a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Down in Houston, and they've got, if you ever get a chance to go to the Labrada gym, it's the Labrada Nutrition headquarters. It's badass.
I'm sure.
So
I've seen it in videos.
So Hunter was training. He had Justin.
Yeah.
They're training with him. Of course, his workout partner and everybody. And he goes, me and Michael said, we train. I said, back. He goes, can I train? I said, absolutely. So we trained back. And
Michael's a G.
so Michael is, what are you, 55?
56.
56? And shit, he outworked freaking most of the pros in the gym that day. And
Michael doesn't have an off switch.
yeah, and
Like quit button.
and the thing is, it ain't about, and I've always known this. I got another part to the story. It ain't about how much you lift. It's about how hard you lift. That's what matters.
How hard you lift the weight.
That's right. And I remember talking to Ronnie Coleman years later. I trained with him when I was 17 for my first show. And years later, I asked Ronnie, I said, hey, man, I said, we're both pro at that point. Ronnie was Mr. Olympia. And I said, hey, why'd you let me train with you back when I was a kid? And it was him and this guy, Mark, who was actually bigger and stronger than Ronnie was. He just didn't have the physique Ronnie had. And he said, he goes, man, he goes, you train harder than all the men in the gym. He goes, we all knew you'd be big and strong, and you did.
Yeah.
And that was probably the biggest compliment to this day I've ever gotten.
And that's how I felt when I was training with you that day when we were at the Labrada's gym,
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to give him my energy, so he gets fired up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got women. I trained with Dana Lynn Bailey, and she trained as hard as anyone I ever trained.
I've trained with Dana a couple times.
And she ain't stronger than me. She ain't stronger than you. She ain't stronger than anyone.
For all four of you.
But she trains harder than anyone.
Most dudes.
Yeah.
What was the hardest training session, or who was the best training partner?
But I just want to latch on to this part here first, because I feel like today's Insta generation is all about form, and it's all about teaching others how to train, but they don't know how to train hard themselves.
Can I?
Jay said that to me yesterday.
Yeah.
Cutler. We were on the treadmill in Boston next to each other talking. And I'd mentioned something about Nick, his hamstring. I'm like, I watched Nick's training. He doesn't train out of control. I don't know how the hell he did it. And then Jay made a comment like, I don't understand any of it today.
They don't train like us, bro.
They don't train exactly.
They don't train like
He's
us,
like, we
bro.
went in the gym and we lifted weights. We didn't sit there and talk about how to lift it. We just fucking lifted it. I'm like, yeah.
It's like you said earlier. And so how do you train? It's like, I think you said, man, I lift heavy and I do high reps.
Yeah.
And these kids, they're like, well, you can't do that. I'm like, oh, yeah, you can, motherfucker.
Hold my beer.
You ever trained hard? You know that.
Exactly.
And like in that seminar, talking about the hardest work in the room, this kid, we did a Apollo Gym seminar here a few weeks ago.
That's when I that's when I got a little red.
And he got mad, and he's like hitting me on the fucking table, and because I made a comment about being, the hardest worker, because I'm like, I compete against guys that were genetically better than me, right? Had better shape, better structure, and but I learned very young, if you could outwork them, you could beat them.
And this kid pretty much said, he didn't say that's bullshit, like
Yeah,
hardest
he
worker
said it's
room
bullshit. He goes, there's no such thing as a hard worker. We all work hard. I don't believe in that.
Yeah, okay.
Blah blah. And I said,
I kicked Branch. I was like,
and dude,
I'll let you have this. I was like, I'll let you have this one.
You've seen him when he starts getting mad. Hey, he just fucking starts like ready to explode, and he's like kicking me on the fucking table.
Because I wanted him to get out because I was ready to rip the guy. I was like, go ahead,
So
get him.
here,
Get
here,
him.
let me.
So I got the
Well, hold on,
microphone.
listen.
I got the microphone, and I said, "Give me the microphone." I got it back, and I said, I looked down the table, and I said, "I 1,000% disagree with you." I said, "That's coming from a." I go, "When you're the hardest motherfucker in the gym, you know it. Everybody in the gym knows it." And I go, "You're the hardest worker in the gym, the room, in the business, whatever. You know it. Your competitors know it. Everyone
gotta
around you
tell
fucking
nobody.
knows it." And I go, "If you were a hard worker, I go, you never say that fucking shit, bro."
And he
said,
just he
"Fucking
took the mic
drop
and he fucking dropped the mic.
Now, people say who has genetics. Genetics is a very interesting topic because when you talk about being the hottest worker in the room, is that a genetic issue?
No, 100%
It's not.
I totally disagree with that.
You don't think that your genetics
gen-
allowed you?
Genetics gives you the ability to do your chosen sport. Example, one of my great friends, Matt Lair, he played played for Virginia
I remember
Tech, got
Matt.
drafted, played 8 years in NFL, started for the Cowboys.
You remember him? He's
Saints,
still alive.
Tampa.
Well, I
you
haven't
know.
seen him in many years.
So, but he played center. All right, to play a center in the NFL, you got to be tall and big, right? And you got to get certain ability. You got to have. You got to be strong.
You can hit
things like that.
every play.
Now that doesn't guarantee you he's going to be a NFL player and a starter. How many kids out there coming up are big and strong and quick? A lot. How many actually make it to the NFL?
None.
Fucking like 1/10 to 1% or something like
Yeah.
that. I mean, it's insane, right? How few make it there? But that's that inner drive you have that gives you that develops that ability. If you don't, it's something you're born with. I think some people don't know they have it.
Yeah.
Some people, it takes somebody to bring it out in them. Some people they just want it so bad they bring it out themselves. So I think all genetics does is okay, you got the ability to be a great bodybuilder. Now, we can do with it.
Yeah.
But I do feel like a little bit what you're into is like, you got genetics to kind of build muscles and stuff like that, but you also have a personality, like something that brings out the animal in you, and I feel like.
But that's
That's
something
in
you're
it.
born with. You either got that in you or you
Yeah.
don't. If you don't have that inner drive and that fire in you,
That's why I say it's a genetic component. And I get that question a lot. I've seen it through the years where people say, is that a genetic component? Those guys, like a Branch Warren, who was able to almost take down Jay Cutler, who was able to win all these shows, and he, quote unquote, had lesser genetics than some of the guys he was going against.
I think I'm gonna
Did
speak
your
for my-
genetic potential to have better drive than everyone else?
I didn't have great structure and shape, maybe, but I had good genetics in the fact I could put on a ton of muscle. I mean, our height difference ain't that much, right? You and me, an inch, maybe inch and a half, maybe.
I'm 5'5.5".
Yeah, so
max.
So we ain't that much different. What I had was genetically the ability to put on a lot of fucking muscle, and I could get really hard.
Like 40 pounds more.
And
That's
so
crazy.
That's the genetic ability, I think, where genetics come into play. It's that drive. He had the same fucking drive I had, right? I was 242 on stage. He was 210, right? It ain't from lack of effort or training or nutrition. It's just genetics allowed. I had the genetics where I could just put on more muscle, just like Ronnie Coleman was able to be 290 pounds on stage, shredded to the bone, right? Because of his genetic ability.
Yeah.
Now he had the genetic. I should say, genetic ability. Now because of his work ethic and he trained the way he trained, he reached his. I'm gonna think probably his potential. I think a lot of guys don't reach their potential because they don't have that drive in them.
He reached the ultimate human potential.
And so some people don't have genetics. I know kids. We all know guys. They train their ass off. They don't really change. They just don't have it. But I think someone with average genetics, if they train hard, they can be a good bodybuilder. They may not be a great pro. If you got good genetics, I think you can compete with guys that have great genetics if you outwork them.
I mean, my genetics were. I've trained with you. I've trained with Jose, Bob. I've trained with. I never went off of my genetics. I mean, you know my mom, my dad. I mean, you guys have all. You know, all you guys here have met my parents, Nick included, behind the camera. My genetics are not that great. They're just not. And I say it. People go, "Well, you were a pro bodybuilder." I'm like, my genetics are like. I'm retired now. I'm 190 pounds. I mean, I don't eat a lot of food, but I really do think that you have to you either have that fucking my switch, it's either on or it's off, and
you
I
may
don't
have
have
been quite possibly the person who out-trained their genetics more than anyone else.
I didn't have and people laugh when I say that. I didn't have a choice. I didn't. I'm not genetic. And people get mad when I say that because they're like, but you're a pro bodybuilder, you won these shows. And I'm like, I get that. But if you saw, I started at 162 pounds, and even when I turned pro, I was 176, but I was kind of skinny, dude. You know, I wasn't a big fucking middleweight. I wasn't a big 212 guy. I just wasn't. But I was like, I have something that I know 99% of those guys have. And I will fucking bury every one of them in the gym. And it might not be something that will make me win every show, but it'll make me fucking knock a lot of these guys off. And I remember when that came full circle, not at my first show, not at my second, because I did 2 shows my first year. I took fifth, I took fourth. My third show, Vaughn Etienne won the Dexter Jackson Classic.
Nasty.
I took second. I beat
cop.
Brandon Ray. And with that day, I was like, I can fucking be good. I can be really good bodybuilder. Because Brandon
That's the day
Ray,
you realized you could do it.
Because he had the best genetics of all of us.
Yeah. And I was like, he's gonna. I don't know if this. I can beat this guy's genetics. I was like, but I'm gonna fucking outwork him. I got second. When I got second at that show, that light switch came on me, man. And I was fucking. Next show, I went to Dallas and I won that show. That was the last 202 show. Yeah. Went to the Olympia, but I think a lot of these guys have that potential, but they just don't dig deep enough to find it. Like when we did that interview last night with RX Muscle, I said, with Nick falling out, and then we heard what happened to Brand today, I'm like, these motherfuckers should be foaming at the mouth because this is an opportunity that you won't really get at the Olympia where these guys are falling out. You know, he has these guys, every one of them have an opportunity to actually show how fucking great they are. And a lot of times, if these other guys were in the show, they would never get that look. So this is an opportunity of a lifetime. And I think the Olympia went from being so crazy to look at this year, and then people are like, all these guys are out, and now it's like, now it's fucking so open. It's like, what's going to happen? You know? So I think there's a lot of people out there that have it, never find it, and then there's the guys that have it and they fucking find it. And then you have your genetic freaks.
But what was your moment, Branch?
Did I realize I could?
That you realized you could be not only good, but the best?
2006 Arnold Classic. I took second. I won the Dallas Europa. I won the Charlotte Pro. We got second to Dexter at the Arnold Classic that year. And I remember thinking, this is my first try. And I'm like, I was that close to winning it, right?
Was that the one he said that he thought you had him?
I was 15.
Okay.
But I remember I got second and I was mad because I was like, because my mentality is like, I thought I should win every show. I never went to a show and I'm like, I should have fucking won.
Talked about that thing.
And I remember I went back to my hotel room and I'm sitting there and I remember sitting there thinking, I told myself right then, when I was 18, I'm going to win the Arnold Classic. I mapped out my whole career when I was 18. And I was that close and I was so fucking mad that I didn't win. And I got to my room and I looked at Trish and I go, I can win this. And she goes, yeah, you can. She goes, you almost won tonight. And at that moment, I think that's when I finally started letting myself go, okay, I'm a pro bodybuilder. I'm a legit pro bodybuilder. And like, I can win this whole fucking thing. And I believed in myself. But at that moment, I think I realized it. Like, okay, this dream I've had for all these years, I'm like, I get to live it now and I can make it my reality.
Yep.
And
then what did you win? 10 and 11 right in a row?
That was 06.
Took a year off, right? Because
07, I won a couple shows, New York Pro and whatever it was, and then went to the Olympia. And then 08, I got hurt like 30 days out.
So what was it, 9 and 10 you won?
9, I got second, and then 11 and 12, I won the Arnold.
Okay.
11 and 12.
Was close.
And but yeah, 06 is when I realized I can fucking do this. And I'd beaten some guys that were like, top 3 guys at the Olympia, and at that show, and I'd beaten some guys at Charlotte and stuff that were, top 3 or 4 guys. And I remember thinking, that was the first time I looked at myself, because I always looked at those guys like, fuck, man, they're pros. And at that moment, I was like, I'm a fucking pro. I can win this whole thing. And I never looked back.
Yeah, there was a point in time where you were the biggest, hardest,
crazy,
nastiest guy on every stage you got on.
Yeah.
It was just a matter of who you stand next to.
Yeah, and I think that's looking back on it, and that's something I was very much aware of. I knew me at 100%, I could beat anybody in the world.
It just had to be the right time.
It had to be the right time.
Yeah.
If I had
a lot of things are about timing.
If I had to stand next to fucking Phil Heath at 100%, I was gonna have a hard day.
Yeah.
But when Phil Heath was off, I beat him.
Yeah.
And because I was very consistent with my conditioning and what I brought to the stage. I knew I had to be, because if I was off 5%,
Yep.
I'd fall way down in the
Yeah.
places. If I was 100%, I could win any shot I went into, potentially. So
But what were you gonna say? Because I wanted to go off of what I was gonna say earlier.
I was kind of like adding to the genetic conversation. We kind of moved away from it. That like genetics is, in my opinion, is a lot of different things. It's shape, your ability to put on muscle, your ability to get lean, and your mind. And that's the part I think that we don't give genetics credit to. But like, I know your dad, and I could say you got your mindset from your dad. Was it something that you inherited, or were you taught? We can argue around we'll go, but I think that
Is being taught a genetic factor, though?
is it your environment, or is it something you're born with, genetics?
I think you kind of know the guys when owning a gym and seeing the guys coming in and out the door. You kind of see the kids that have it mentally, and then they can develop it. And there's those ones that just can't. They just can't get out of their own way.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is it? Why can't you just lock it in and just go to that crazy? Take
Figure,
the place-
like I said, figure it the fuck out. Why can't you figure it the fuck
I
out?
think,
Yeah.
speaking for myself, I think it was two factors. I grew up super poor, and I was tired of living like that. I didn't want to raise my family like that, and I wanted to be able to take care of my family, have a better life for my family. And number two, I want to do something great in the world.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be an average schmo out there working a 9 to 5, busting their ass, killing themselves working, never get ahead, never get to do anything. I wanted to do something great, and I knew if I could do that my family would have a better life.
Right. But you harnessed that, and you put it to work. Some people let that crumble them.
See, I took shit like that, and I made it. It would make me
Yep.
mad, and I could take that energy, that anger,
Refocus.
I could refocus into something positive. If I lost the show, dude, all I want to do was leave, go back to my dirty dungeon little gym, and go back to work.
Yep.
That's all the fuck I want to do. And every fucking day I train, I remember how I felt, and I was so confident I'd win. I practiced my victory speech every night, every day after I trained. I'd go home, take a shower. I'd be in the shower, practice my victory speech. Trish one time called me. She goes, "What are you doing?" I go, "Nothing." And but I was practicing my victory speech and shit, because in my mind, the way I thought, I was like, I already won this thing. I just got to go fucking put the work in
Right.
and claim what's mine.
MJ, what were you gonna say?
No, I was just feeling like the same stuff, but from my own, having big dreams, a little bit like you're talking about,
Yeah.
and then pursuing them and want to get out in the world.
Right.
So I have the same stuff, the same drive.
Right.
I can't be here. I mean, I moved from home when I was 16. I was kind of like, want to progress. And
Yeah, and
that's why-
is that genetic, or is that just the fact that he's got a fucking great mindset and he's a hard-working motherfucker? Like,
yeah,
you
but-
know?
But is that something that was inherited from
Yeah.
his parents or his grandparents?
I think there was the environment like when I saw my environment, I felt like hell. I need to get the hell out of here. You know,
Right.
I need to create a vehicle for
want something
myself, and I need to create the change. Because I couldn't conform to the norm that was around me. I need to.
You wanted to create your own norm.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't want to be average. I didn't want to be, blending in and, kind of drinking beer and just,
I like beer.
yeah.
What was the first thing you said, that first part? Because I was going to go off of that. Your first. What was the first part you said?
I said, I think having that mindset, having that drive, or is it genetic, or is it your environment? And I said, for me, it was both, because I grew up super, super poor.
That's what I was going to say. So, because you said that. This is, I think, one of the big problems. If you take 50 fucking people, right? Like, what first thing Branch said was, I grew up super poor. He didn't use that his whole life as a feel bad for me.
Right.
And that has showed up a lot in the past couple of months for me, is that everybody, if you talk to everybody, Edmund, Nick, you, Jose, Mike, Branch, me, every one of us has a story where every one of us would go like this to each other. That fucking happened?
Yeah.
Are you fucking serious? So my point is, everybody's got a shitty fucking story. Everybody's got shitty chapters to their book. Everybody's got fucking bad things that happen. But if you don't fucking are able to take those bad things, refocus like Branch into something positive, or fucking move past them and put them behind you and not worry about them, the people that get stuck and want everybody to feel fucking bad for them, and they want things given to them based off of bad circumstances, those are the motherfuckers that can't get out of their own way, like you said. You have to figure it. That's why I said, I have so many friends that come to me, and they're like, dude, you have all these things that Branch says all the time. He's like, dude, you have all this. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck, how you do it. And I just figure it the fuck out. That's and I say it all the time to my friends. I'm like, dude, I don't know, figure it the fuck out, dude. Like you have a mind, you have choices, figure it the fuck. And if you can't figure it out, I don't feel bad for you.
Right.
Because as bad as your story is, I got 20 fucking stories I can give you, not of me, of other people that are super successful, that your fucking woe is me card is nothing to them. And the same goes for me.
Right.
And that's why I put things in perspective. Like when people go, oh, I don't want to do, this is a lot of cardio. Yeah? Say that to somebody who's got no fucking legs or got them blown off overseas.
Right.
Or I'm starving. No, you're not. Because there are people that don't eat 6 times a day, let alone 6 times a fucking month. You're just mad you're not eating the things that you want to eat. So for you, you're starving. That you're just mentally handicapped. That's the problem. And you can't understand the difference and put things in perspective.
But I mean, I think like 85% of everybody, like, in this, there are Insta bodybuilder, luxury bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And back in the early 90s when I was out traveling to all the gyms and, selling clothing and, meeting people, like, it was only such a small part. It was people like us who went to the gym. The bigger society was not at the gym yet. So now they are at the gym, and now they are also like doing this, and they get the pro card very early. Yeah.
So, because we're talking about Insta bodybuilding, right? I want to know from a business perspective, from a guy that owns a massive fucking brand. We say that we don't like the Insta bodybuilders, but then we get looked at, and we also have to post on social media because that's part of being.
So it's a necessary evil.
So. How do you view that as a?
He don't
owner
like the
of
idea of the instant
I know.
bodybuilder.
But you kind of have to accept it in today's society because that's kind of what it fucking became, some way, shape, and form. So how do you break it down in your mind?
That truly works. It truly works.
It's a hard question. I know. Don't get mad.
Social
I know you
media
have to
is
say.
like, damn it, guy.
I know it's a good question because
But it's like, I just feel like there is no
like, "Damn it, guy."
fucking excuses, Like, I think a lot of people excuses. They put up red tape for themselves because they don't need to take responsibility for their actions.
Yep.
So that's why we have the big sign, 40 feet long and 10 feet high, and it says no excuses because people have a lot of excuses.
Yep.
And that's what I'm kind of saying, that 85% of the society is just filled of excuses of, this is how you need to train, and you need to train strict, and that's kind of like they're part of their excuse system,
yeah.
and they don't want to train hard, they don't want to do what's needed, they don't want to go, to that dark place that we need to go to, and it's just bullshit.
They don't know it exists, though.
I want to throw something here. They're backing up just a minute. I've been in this thing for 30-something years, and I've been able to travel the world in 60-something countries and got to meet some really successful, good people. There's that one thing that they all have in common. It's what we were just talking about. They all got that thing inside of them, whether it's, we can debate it all night long, whether it's environment or it's genetic or whatever. They all got that drive inside of them. And I'm not talking about just bodybuilding. I'm talking about professional fighters.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, I even know some actors, movie stars, businessmen, men, women, whatever. They've all got that thing inside of them. Just like he said. He said he did what he's done with his company. He had that same thing inside of him. It started with bodybuilding, but he transitioned to business. And he kept that drive and that fire inside of him.
It's
to
the
be
same
successful
thing.
on a world stage. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
The same thing that drives him to go to work every day and to become when I met him, he was in the Nordic countries. He wanted to be a global brand. He had this vision and his drive. He wanted to take this company and make it global. And it's that same drive he had in bodybuilding that he transferred to business that made it successful. And it doesn't matter if you're a football player, if you're an actor, if you're a business owner, whatever it is, it's that same thing inside of them. And that's one thing they all have in common. And, I've got a good friend, my friend Reagan.
Yeah.
He grew up very similar to how I did. And bad childhood, poor, this and that. And he had that thing inside him. He wanted to fucking be a winner. He wanted to be the best. And that's what drove him. Just like Michael did. Just like I can name, the list goes on and on. People I can name that had that inside of them. You had it. He had it, and I think usually people like that want to be around other people like that, because just like he said, when he's around people that make excuses, you get pisses you off.
Yeah.
Because you're sitting there going, I've had people all the time cry this shit. I'm like, motherfucker, go do it. Just fucking do it. Figure it out. I go, because I can name 1,000 people that fucking had it worse off than you, and they didn't use that as a crutch.
You
They
told me
overcame
some
it.
stories. I was like,
You overcome this shit and you fucking move on. I said it 20 years ago and I'm gonna say it again. The world don't owe you shit, bro. Nobody owes you nothing. But you can have anything you want if you're willing to put the work in. Period.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
well, nobody answered my question about the hardest. Well, I wanted to know, like, who was the hardest training session / person you guys have trained with, like, throughout your career?
And also, I want to know when Boston Mass appeared.
The Boston Mass.
All right, they've been avoiding your question twice now. You got to get the answer.
I already told you Dana Lynn Bailey was the hardest because she would go nonstop, and I tried to keep up with her. And
Her
then
cardio and shit.
yeah, it was just like triple drop supersets, giant sets.
Matt, what about like training partner, like a guy, like a bodybuilder?
Consistent on a consistent basis. you
Yeah,
mean.
I mean, or it doesn't. Or you could like there was some sessions I had with Branch. I don't train with Branch fucking every day, but Branch is probably one of the guys I train with. I mean, you train with Johnny, but I feel like I train with you a lot.
As another pro, you're probably second on the list besides Johnny.
Yeah, so-
I train Johnny every day for 20-something years.
Yeah, I train with you, and that's why people like and I enjoy it because I like
would say Branch or Evan.
Evan.
For,
I
for
train with a
different
while.
reasons. Because Branch wouldn't stop.
No.
I'm like, all right, dude, we're an hour and 15 minutes, and he'll do 4 more machines. I'm like, why are we going to do this one? It would just be some random pressing machine. It wasn't even a good machine. He's like, just load it up, baby. And then we go to something else. I'm like, really? I'm like, I've been done for an hour now. And then Evan was bad because he would,
Meticulous.
I'm still doing that shit with him.
yeah. I'm like a 45-minute to 60-minute guy.
In and out.
And he's just getting warmed up.
Yeah, but I like it, you know.
No, I did. I loved it. But it's just a different training style.
I'll answer your question for you. Johnny Jackson,
That's what I figured.
bar none.
Well, you both did that
The
shit.
motherfucker was an animal.
Yeah.
Johnny was never late. He never missed a workout. He never complained. He literally, one time we were training, you know the old Nautilus pullover machines with the chain?
Oh, yeah.
You know, we got one at Metroflex.
Yeah.
Oh, the old blue one sitting in the corner.
Yep.
We were doing it one day, and he knew better. And we get the stack on. I couldn't reach all the way to get it because you got your elbow pad there.
Yep.
And so, usually one would stand in front, pull it down, you get in it, and then go. Well, he put his fucking hand on the cam, and the chain goes, it cut the fucking end of his finger off, bro. Like, from that far over, it cut it off. And he goes, fuck, and he fucking pulled his hand back. And I looked at him, and I just seen blood. I'm like, fuck. I let the thing go. I go, bro. He goes, fuck, I knew better, man. He goes, I put my hand on the cam. And I go, and Brian was right there, the owner, and he goes, yo, bro, we might ought to go to the doctor or the emergency room or
No,
something.
do your set.
And Johnny goes, he looked at it, and he goes, man, I got a fucking show coming up in like 5 weeks. And he literally went and got some fucking tape, some tissue shit put on it. Brian got duct tape. We duct taped that motherfucker back on and finished the work. We're training back, by the way, so you got to use your hands for every set. He finished the fucking workout. And when I say finish it, he didn't cut back. He went just as hard as we always went. Then he went to the emergency room and got it sewn back on. He's a tough motherfucker, man.
He's a crazy
Yeah,
man.
but that's the mindset that you need.
What about
Exactly.
you,
Yeah.
MJ?
What about me?
Training partner, training session, something like memorable session.
Yeah, I had one of my buddies, Lennart Brandt, big dude. He became one of the best heavyweight bodybuilders in Sweden, and we were, always training legs together.
Oh, so he was a training partner.
Yeah, training
Okay.
partner, and we pushed hard, and we had, these crazy workouts that, that is very similar to Branch, and
Yeah.
that's how we grew up.
Bobby, what
So-
about you? You own
Mine
a
was-
gym in Muscle
yeah,
Inc.,
so-
PA. So I mean,
So
you
I
train with
opened
a lot
a
of
gym
people.
when I was 20 with my dad. So I was kind of like what maybe you would call a gym bro at that age. And then this guy moved into town named Sean Crump. He was a top national bodybuilder.
I actually know that guy. I know the name.
Took second to Brandon Curry and whatever. Nationals a bunch of times, top 5. So he came and joined the gym and befriended me and basically was like 5-6 years older than me. And I'll never forget, he's like, I'm going to teach you what it's like to be a bodybuilder and not a meathead. Because right now you're just a meathead. And it was like from that point on, I was getting a fucking education in bodybuilding, and he put me through it
Hell.
every day. And then this guy would come up, Luke, who took fourth at Masters Nationals the year Vinny Galante won it, and he would come up. We'd do hamstrings for 2 hours on Saturday, and I was just like, that molded me. It molded my mind more than anything.
Was there like a session that you remember that was just like, fuck this?
Yeah, well, it was the 100 rep. It was probably the 100 rep
Yeah,
sets
exactly.
on the squat on one of the power squat machines.
That's
Yep.
Yeah, that's like
your hardest workout ever.
Mine.
So, what? There's any one session in
Me.
your career that you remember? There's just being the fucking that stands out.
When I buried you.
It wasn't even a workout. It was a competition for Dave Palumbo's.
Bench.
No, it
Squat.
was a bros versus pros. Remember you
I
used
remember
to do
that. I
those?
remember
Yeah.
that.
And I was the pro in the squats, and we did 405, and it was Juan Morel, it was Brad Rowe, John De La Rosa. It was a lot of up and coming guys.
You were the smallest one.
I was by far the smallest one, and I was 2 weeks out from the Orlando Europa, and they all went. A couple of them did 24, one did 27, and I went last. I did 30 reps, and it was one of those things where at 22 I could have quit, and I'm like, nope. My body, my
Fucking
mind,
lungs are on fire. You just can't.
Yeah.
it just kept going, and I was the only one that could do it, and maybe it was because I went last. But I was able to. I beat them all by 3 because
Yeah.
the record was 27.
So you could have stopped at 28.
Yeah, I went to 30 because I called my brother that morning.
How dead were you?
How many do you think I should do? And he's like, 30. I'm like, yeah, I think so too. So I did 30. It was, and then I went on and finished the workout and finished my leg workout because I was 2 weeks out. So I went and did hack squats, leg presses, lunges.
When did you hit a rep and you were like, fuck, this is rough? 22?
Yeah, right around 22, I was willing to quit. But I had a lot more in me,
That's crazy.
and I had to summons it, you know?
That's because you had something else in you.
Yeah, exactly. That was the one day that I remember being like,
Fuck.
yeah. 'Cause
Michael?
in the gym,
Yeah.
you push, but there's no competition. It's you push for a feeling.
Oh, I had a competitor every day, fucking
John.
right next to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was every fucking day.
Yeah.
I look at him. I'm like, we'd walk in the gym, and then some days we wouldn't even talk to each other, and it was cool. And I look at him. I'm like, I'm gonna kill this motherfucker today. Some days I did. Some days I didn't.
When I trained with you guys, I was like talking to you guys. You kept
don't
looking
talk.
at me like,
Shut the fuck up. Do your
"It's your
set.
set."
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right.
People don't realize that there was.
we're not here to socialize.
It's different now with him. People don't realize that when he was competing, there was like everyday branch, and then there was the gym branch, and that's why like Bobby sees me do it, and it's just I adapted to it. Now being retired is different, but even back then when we trained, it was like you're up or how much weight you want on. It was literally there was not much said between that, and also there's not much sitting down. Branch. One thing I learned is during training, you're, and that's why I get pissed sometimes at my training partner because if Branch is doing a set, I'm there watching his set or spotting him. If he's going, I'm watching. If I'm going, that's mutual respect. I got guys I train with sometimes. They'll do a set. I'm on top of them, screaming, yelling, spotting them. I grab the dumbbells, fucking dicking off, fucking in the corner, doing whatever the fuck they're doing. I'm like. And then they're like, well, did you do normal grip? Did you do? I don't like if you fucking paying attention, you saw, But
But he drove me to the gym. He was fine. We were
that's what I'm saying.
great
It's
on
totally.
the way
It's like
in.
he walks into a new dimension when he goes through the fucking
And
door.
like 2 sets in, he wouldn't even look at me. He was just like, yeah.
There was the worst.
What the fuck just happened?
I had 3 worst workouts of my life. One with Branch, one with Charles, and one with John Meadows. John Meadows made me throw up. We trained at the fucking.
Now, did you train with him or did he train you?
No, he trained with me. It was me, him, and Luke Carroll. We trained together, and I puked after the second. We did hamstrings and pendulum squats. I fucking walked outside, threw up, went right back in, and just kept training. And then we did lunges around the lake. And then Charles Glass, my first leg workout with Charles, fucking just murdered me. And then after my burns, I came back and I trained with him,
Tony.
Setmanat, John Bartolo, and myself. I think that was it.
That's it.
And We did leg extensions, 3 sets. Last set was a fucking that was like this, like it was, we tried to get 100.
100 reps.
And then it was we did squats, and I had not trained in 10 weeks. Squats. I have the videos. I went up 225, 315, 405. You guys might have went to 5 plates.
to 5.
I didn't go to
yeah.
5 that day. I was like, fine, I ain't going to 5. So then we did hack squats, and we went up to fucking like 8 plates aside, and then did a drop set. I think we did one other thing.
Leg press.
Leg press. Bro.
And hams.
Yeah, and then we did hamstrings afterwards. Dude, I was so... MJ? I was so fucking sore. I was at fucking Dallas.
month.
I was at Dallas for a week. I wanted to go home. I would go back to the fucking... Every day, I was so sore. I was walking like this. When this motherfucker wasn't around, I was walking in the hotel like this. I'm like, I'm going to fucking kill this motherfucker. And then Branch would walk in the room, and I'd be like this all day. And I'd see Branch, I'd be like, yo, what's up, bro?
Dude,
Because
I never knew,
I was
man.
never going to let him know how fucking bad he murdered me. And he didn't even know I
years.
must have took 20 fucking Epsom salts bath that week in that DoubleTree or the Homewood Suites. I was so he fucked me up more than anybody's ever fucked me. I was sore for so goddamn long, man. I was like, fuck. And I don't think you knew for like 2. I was like, I'm gonna tell you
That's 2
something.
3 years, yeah.
I was like, I never told you this. I'm gonna tell you now. Don't use it against me. I go, but you fucking buried me that day.
But there's no shame in that, bro, because you gave 100% and you fucking went all out. You didn't quit.
You wouldn't have felt that if you didn't.
There ain't no shame in getting sick. There ain't no shame in getting sore.
No.
There's
So-
shame when you quit. If anybody who's trained me and quit, motherfucker, you ain't never welcome back.
You could cut your finger off, throw up,
Yeah.
puke,
I don't
fucking
give a
bleed,
fuck.
but
It's
just
cool.
come back.
Come back.
Just come back.
Go puke. Come back.
Branch, what was was that in Generation Iron when someone
Worst
walked
fucking
foot-
movie of all time.
No, not the horse, but there was a scene
Not the
where the
horse.
photographer was in front of you. You're like, get the fuck out of the way.
Was that you?
he got a bunch of that. I can tell you Nick stories all day long.
But
Anyway,
it was
Nick filmed me for
awesome.
years. Y'all don't see Nick. He's behind the camera. He thought I hated him, I think, for years. And finally one day I was bullshitting with him, and he's like, man, he told somebody, he's like, yo, man, Branch actually talked to me today. No, in that scene, so that's the motherfucker that like. So Generation Iron. Let's set this straight. Number one, I didn't tear no hamstring or nothing. Okay, I hit my head on the concrete. That was the worst part of that whole thing. My horse was spooked because of the camera crew. They had one of those big boom mics, big fuzzy thing on it. Well, you know, believe it or not, I can ride. I do cutting horse competitions. So all you guys that think I can't ride, we're gonna post some shit soon.
Branch can ride.
I
I've
can
seen
ride.
it.
So, but and these dudes, we had a little rodeo because the horse was freaking out by this thing. You know, horses they'll spook, and he didn't like whatever this thing was. He didn't like it. He thought it was who knows what, a monster trying to get him. So we had a little rodeo, and I told the dudes there's like 12, 13 guys in that crew. I said, all you guys get back. I go, you and the cameraman, the producer, who's asking questions, can stay. Everybody else, go away. And I was at my house, and I rode in front of the pond there in the house, and this dude came up behind us and had that thing. Well, he starts fucking bucking and this and that. And you
Boom
know,
mic, right?
yeah, and he fucking gets a little crazy. They edited that out, and then he still wasn't done with that shit, and he fucking bucked, and I was on him, and I came off and hit my head on the concrete. So we go to the gym the next day, and I'm fucking pissed, right? Because I got a fucking big knot on my head. I'm just wasn't happy. I bruised my tailbone and shit. 'Cause I was lean. You know, as you get lean, your fucking tailbone,
Oh, shit.
fucking, you ain't got no fat back there no more. And I told this dude, it's the same fucking dude that spooked my horse, was behind the camera that day. And I said, don't fucking stand in front of me. I go, stand over here, don't stand in front of me. And he's standing in front of me, and I'm just done with this dude. And I'm like, I'm doing my set, and he fucking walks right in front of me, and I threw the weight down. And then, of course, the part you don't see is when I go off on him and throw him out of the gym. Because I'm like,
Oh, you kicked him out.
I'm like, I'm done with you motherfuckers, man. You know, I'm like, fuck you, I'm done.
Oh, that's great.
yeah,
I
so
never
That's
heard
the best
that.
part of it.
Yeah,
I wish
so-
they would have kept that part.
And then, you know,
course not.
and then
That would be the
I'm
good
gonna
Oh,
go
you
Exactly.
So then, so I'm retired now. I don't give a fuck. So Vlad, you gave me your word. You would edit that shit out because your people caused this shit, and then you didn't keep your word to me and you put it in the movie. And to this day, you've avoided me and you never talked to me about it. So one day I will see you and we're gonna have it out about that.
Oh, this is big stuff.
Yeah.
Battery running
I'm
out.
glad I brought it up. I was wondering what the hell that was. I
So,
knew you were
and the dude,
more
the dude was
pissed.
when you give me your word, when I say I'm gonna do something, I do it. When I tell someone I'm gonna do something, I do it. Michael asked me to do something, I say I'm gonna do it, I do it. Right? So he gave me his word, he wouldn't put that in there. So at the premiere in New York, the red carpet thing, me, Phil, Kai, we're all there, Dennis, everybody. He sends Robin Chang over, says, hey man, Vi, when we talked to you about something, I go, what's that? And he goes, there's a scene that happened, and he said he wasn't going to put it in there, and he put it in there. I'm like, what? And I go, where's he at? Dude, the dude avoided me. I went looking for him. I couldn't find him. We had a premiere in Hollywood like a week later. Pretty cool deal in Hollywood. I didn't want to go at that point. My wife talked me into going. I was pissed. I didn't want to go. I was like, screw this. I ain't going. She's like, and she wanted to go because Hollywood, red carpet, all this shit. Same thing. Avoided me, wouldn't talk to me about it. And so consequently, I'm like, you know what? I'm done with the whole Generation Iron thing and all that stuff. And, you know, since then, they've been pretty much banned from IFBB, NPC, and everything else because those guys try to portray bodybuilding and bodybuilders in the worst possible light.
Yep.
And I'm like, that's my thing. I love this sport. I've always loved it. And I told her from day one, I said, I don't want to be part of something. If you're going to portray me, my family, or my sport in a negative light, I don't want to be in it. And so that's how, that's the backstory to it.
Wow, that's a great story. I had no clue about. I wasn't digging. I was just wondering because I remember that scene, and you were so fucking pissed. And from what I knew of you, I'd never seen you that pissed in the gym. You might give a face or a non-acknowledgement, but you were like,
I've seen Branch get a little fucking fired up in a couple situations.
If Johnny was here, we could have some stories about that. But
what do you think of guys not in front of me?
Is what?
The hack squat.
What was it?
Dallas.
Oh, that deal?
Yeah.
All right, man. So, all you young cats out there, check this out. There's some shit called gym etiquette, right? And there's a pecking order.
Oh,
in the
he's
gym.
getting on my side. Okay.
All right. There's a pecking
damn
order.
right he is.
First of all, there's a pecking order in the gym. I trained at Metroflex consistently for 29 years. All right. There's a pecking order.
I'm just gonna hold on. I know we're filming this. I just want just for my sake.
If you ever pulled that shit,
All right. So there's two things. It's called gym etiquette, and there's a pecking order in the gym. I trained at Metroflex for 29 years. There's a pecking order. Guess who was it? Believe it or not, Ronnie wasn't always in the top. His workout partner, Mark Hanlon, was at the top. Because if you cross Mark, he beat your ass. He scalped the dude in the gym one time. All right. So, number two, and that's a true story. He scalped a motherfucker in the gym. So, number two, Ronnie, for most of those 29 years old, Ronnie was top of the list. He was in pecking order. When he came in the gym, his music came on. If he won a machine, everybody gave him the machine. It's called respect because of a pecking order. You understands that?
Hell yeah.
And I was like, Brian told me afterwards, I was like, Brian said that? He goes, yeah. He goes, man, put Branch's music on. That's pretty cool. That's called the pecking order, and it's called respect. Number two, gym etiquette. Okay, if you're doing a set, just like with this cameraman in my face, if you're getting ready to do a heavy set of squats, deadlifts, whatever, any exercise, you don't want somebody sitting right here. You're trying to do hack squats, and I'm sitting here bullshitting with my bro or something, or hitting on some chick, right? That's not cool, man. That's called bad etiquette. So, you know, when you're fired up and you're in that mindset, you're about to do a hard set, okay, you're not going to say, excuse me, sir, could you please step aside? You're going to say, get the fuck out of the way, right? Because you should know, being in the gym, that's how you learn. That's how I learned. The older ones taught the younger ones. That's how you learn. And back in my day, I did some shit one time, and Mark turned around and fucking slapped me. And he goes, shut the fuck up, pay attention, and do what we do, and don't ask no fucking questions. I was like, all right. And guess what? It worked, and I learned, right? If you do that now, these little pussies will call the cops or fucking go try to get you kicked out of the gym or whatever. But that's the way it worked back then. And it was called gym etiquette and a pecking order. And so, to his defense, he didn't do nothing wrong, right?
no, he didn't.
He was doing his set. He asked these dudes to move out of the way because they're standing right there in front of him. It's like, dude, get out of the way. Even now, when I train, I don't know who these people are. If they're doing a set, I give them space. You know, you go up, if you go take plates off something, hey, man, you using this? Just like we're training today in the gym. I walk up, hey, how many sets you got left? I'm not going to take the machine, right? The difference is, if there's a pecking order in gym etiquette, then, you know, I used to give the machines up to Ronnie, man. He's the fucking champ, right? He's number one, right? And I expected the same respect in return to other people that weren't in the pecking order. It's gym etiquette. He didn't do nothing wrong. And when you're in that mindset and training like that, when somebody doesn't follow the rules, those unspoken rules, those unwritten rules, you're not going to react good to it. And that's all God did was react to it. And my boy, you know, he can go from 0 to like 10,000 like that. I saw that today, matter of fact. But that's another story.
But he didn't. He asked nicely at first.
He did, and that's my whole point.
Yeah.
It's like he didn't just jump on him. He asked him nice, and his fucking little kids was like, you know, smarted off, wouldn't move, whatever. And then, of course, you ask the second time, it ain't going to be nice. And the third time, where I came from, it ain't going to be no more asking then. You know?
It was an eruption.
Yeah. So he didn't do nothing wrong, in my 2 cents. So the problem is, in today's society and with these gym bros and all this bullshit, they get their little feelings hurt. They want to cry about it or something. Instead, what they should have done was learned, hey man, maybe I fucked up and maybe I should give this dude space and maybe not stand in front of him when he's doing his set. Period.
That was
Mic drop.
That's it.
Yeah.
So, and I've had one negative encounter in the gym when I've actually thrown a punch. One, and I'm 41 years old. I don't really have problems with people in the gym. And
Did you really throw a punch?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I got into.
Did it land?
All of them landed.
What was her name?
Sheila. You know what's crazy is that kid actually, like, people got on me for that. That kid actually publicly apologized for me, and he said we were wrong. We were fucking around in front of him, and people still.
They chopped up the video and sent
I
it
posted
out.
the video.
Yeah.
Nick, were they not close to me? Okay, they were right in front of me.
Where was that?
It was on the Hack Squat in the back of Destination Dallas, the new Destination
Oh,
Dallas.
this place.
Yeah. Michael was at the gym that day. The issue was that in the video, I asked them to move, then I asked them to move again, and then we had words. By the time the camera panned over to them after 3 fucking back and forwards, they had already backed up fucking 6-8 feet. So when I got off the fucking Hack Squat and walked over, everybody's like, they're fucking 6 feet away from you. And I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, now they are.
Yeah.
When I was screaming at them, they were fucking right up my asshole. They were cutting hair away from me.
Thank God there wasn't social media back in my day until at the very end, because I had a whole bunch of things like that. You know, I mean, Metroflex became like a tourist stop. You ever see the Rocky movie where Rocky's a champ? Yeah. And all of a sudden there's like all these people coming in, and it's a heyday of Metroflex. It's like that. I mean, we had tourists coming in from all over the world, and everybody would come in. It's like, oh, let's take pictures of the tiger in the cage. Well, guess what? Once you step in the cage with a tiger,
You get bit.
you might be dinner, motherfucker. So you better watch it. And so, you know, I go out at 23 hours of the day. I'll take a picture of you, talk to you, and I'm gonna treat everybody with respect. But when I train, leave me alone. That's why I went there, because that was my business.
Yeah.
And I was focused. You know how I trained. And dude, when I'm getting ready to do a 600-pound squat, and you're like, hey, you know, can I take a picture with you? I'm gonna be like, it ain't gonna be a good response, bro. I got my knees wrapped, my belt on, I'm about to get it, and you step up to the squat bar when I'm trying to get on it. I'm like, I'm not gonna say, excuse me, sir, please step back. It ain't gonna be a good reaction.
Yeah.
And if you don't step back, it's gonna be a worse reaction. You know, and then you're gonna run off and cry about it. The difference is back then they didn't have social media. Today they go cry about it, and they post it, and they try to make your guy look like an asshole. When really and truly you were the asshole because you didn't show respect to him.
Do you think the gym etiquette and pecking order isn't what it used to be? Because, like, for my story, for example, about my training partner, there wasn't YouTube, social media. I couldn't do. There was some research that could be done, but I recognized I didn't know it all, and I saw the guy that was better than me, and I would hope he would take me under his wing, and I would get to actually experience that pecking order
100%.
firsthand. I want this knowledge. Just beat the shit out of me every day. I want it. Like, I don't know where else to get it from. There wasn't the internet to get it.
Yeah.
So these guys are going on YouTube and they're all self-taught, and then they're very proud of themselves, and then they have that attitude because they didn't get put through the ringer by somebody like Branch or Guy.
You're 100% correct.
Yeah.
That's how it's supposed to work with the pecking order. The young ones are supposed to teach, the older ones are supposed to teach the young ones, and you're supposed to learn. You're supposed to humble yourself, come with respect, and don't expect everybody to respect you because it ain't given, it's earned.
Right.
And that's the difference with this new generation. They don't understand that. They don't get that.
I grew up in Boston. I got to see Paul DeMeo. I got to see Mike Matarazzo. I got to see my older brother, Steve Cantone. They were nasty. They came to the gym for a purpose. When they walked in, they looked different. They acted different. They switched this.
Flip the switch.
Flipped the switch. And DeMeo actually did that to me once. I was working at a Gold's Gym, and Paul came in, and he was at, like, his peak. I was, like, 17. And I went up to him, and just being nice. I was an employee of Gold's, and I asked him a dumb question, something, you know, hey, how you doing? What's next, you know? He was doing barbell curls. He put it down and kicked the barbell. He didn't answer me, just kicked the barbell across the room, and I was like, all right, I get it. And, you know, he was well known as being a dick, but he was in his zone. He was in his place, you know? And I had to respect that. And I got to see, like, all right, this ain't working.
It's not a
out.
game.
This is a job.
It's so the analogy I give, like when Branch talks about it. Obviously, when we're in the gym, if you don't know us, you don't know we're there working, right? You know we're there working out, but you don't know we're there working. But my
They think
analogy,
it's leisure.
my
To us, it's our living.
when somebody interrupts us or somebody does something stupid in the gym, if you were working and your job was to make calls, or you had an office and I walked in with fucking pots and pans while you're on the phone and I'm fucking smacking them together when you're trying to make a sales call and I'm interrupting you, to me it's no different than when you're interrupting me in the fucking gym.
Right.
I'm working. Right. Leave me the fuck alone when I'm at work. When I'm done working, I will fucking sit there for an hour and talk to you. But during my work session, leave me the fuck alone.
Think about this.
But
Would you walk up to a boxer when he's boxing in the ring and try to interrupt him? What do you think's gonna happen?
You need a punch.
Yeah.
Get knocked the fuck out.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, but I think like
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it.
no, but I think like what you guys are talking about is a little bit like the purpose.
Yeah.
When you are so committed to the cause, whatever the cause might be, and there is the purpose. Like the guys going to have a purpose when they do this shit.
Killing it for the cause.
Passion,
Yeah.
like you say all the time, passion and purpose.
Yeah,
You
passion and
combine those two.
purpose. Yeah, you need to you need to go really, really deep and find that, and most I think they don't have it.
We go to a different place.
Yeah.
And then when someone comes in and interrupts that energy, it's a mind fuck.
When you're a tiger and a deer comes in and try to run with you, it ain't gonna be bad for the tiger. It's gonna be bad for the deer.
To be that fucking gazelle at the end of the pack.
Unless it's a hot chick. I'm always 10%.
That's why I train at Metroflex. I don't know hot chicks.
Spirited ladies.
That was always my line. I'm always 10% stronger when there's a hot chick in the room.
I'll tell you a funny story. I was probably 19 training, and there was this powerlifter in the gym. He's we had a bunch of powerlifters, had some good ones back in the day in there, and he's doing, had a heavy ass squat, a lot of weight, and he's sitting there, and this girl, he's trying to get psyched up to do it and shit. It's his last workout before his meet, and this girl comes up, she had big, very well endowed, and he's in front of the bar getting psyched up, and she goes, "How bad you want these, baby?" And fucking pulls them out.
How come that can't happen to me? I get guys who are talking in front of me. I don't get
You think he got the squat? Fuck yeah, he doubled it.
I would have tripled it. That's beautiful stuff.
I said the same thing. I go, damn, that don't ever happen to me.
You ever get in a fight you ever get like into it in the gym with anybody? You ever?
No. I've kicked people
I
out,
have.
but no.
You have?
Yeah.
Like physical?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
It was.
Please do tell.
It was a big basketball court, and this kid was a punk, and he was talking to my girlfriend at the time, and he had called me something. Hey, I saw the midget today, and she told me.
She saw the midget.
Yeah, because I work early in the morning, 6 a.m. appointments, and then he would come in to play basketball. So the next day, he was playing basketball, and I ran out on the court while they were in the middle of a game, and I grabbed the ball, and I saw him. I'm like, "Hey, I'm the midget," and he just laughed at me, and I open hand slapped him in the face, and then all his buddies grabbed me, and it was just a beautiful thing because I got to slap him so hard.
It's embarrassing when you open hand slap somebody.
It was a deafening slap. Like he couldn't hear anymore.
For a week.
Yeah. And then they were holding us, and I was able to punch him, but I could only punch him with this much power. So I was like tapping his head like this, and I just started laughing my ass off. I'm like, "Fuck, I can't get you." But it was great. The open hand slap did all of it because I just wanted to bitch slap him,
That's fucking
and
great.
I got to do it.
I know you've had plenty.
I had a few.
What was the best one? That you can tell.
Yeah, I'll tell a couple of them. But yeah, so I mean, Metroflex was a different place, and just like I spoke earlier about that respect and that pecking order or
Yeah.
something, you know, when somebody violated that, there was usually an issue there.
Yeah.
And the rule was you didn't fight in the gym, you went outside, you handled it. That was Brian's rule. And if you won, you came back in. If you lost, you went home for the day. Both people couldn't stay.
Yeah.
If they stayed, it's going to be a continuing issue. And by doing that, it solved the problem. And you know, I've seen fights break out over a dumbbell. Somebody took somebody's dumbbell and they went outside and handled it.
Yeah.
And Mark was the only one that would fight in the gym. But yeah, I think probably I actually wasn't in Metroflex. It was in South Lake. In South Lake, they got Mark. He helped open a gym in South Lake, and I was there training that day, and this dude come up and I went to get a drink of water from the water fountain, came back, and he's taking my weights off. I said, hey, man, I ain't done. And he goes, yeah, well, you are now. I said, nah, motherfucker, I'm still using this. And he goes, yeah, well, I'm using it now. And so the next reaction for me was overhand right to his fucking face. And after a few exchanges of punches, he was on the ground. And then I was so mad, I kept stomping him
In the gym.
in the gym until Mark grabbed me and pulled me off him.
Did he come back?
He never came back.
Did Brian
I felt bad, so I
get
bought a
mad at
membership.
you?
I bought because he lost the membership, so
You.
the next day I came over and I gave him bought him a year membership because he just lost a client. So,
Hey, admirable.
but there were some other ones, but
I've heard him off
yeah,
camera.
you've heard them off camera.
I've had one that was one with my ex training partner.
And now I'm not saying that's the right way to handle shit.
Sometimes you got to handle shit like a man, dude.
But let's just be real here. Violence is part of society. We're men, and sometimes as a man you get so mad you can't talk about it no more.
Yeah.
And especially as a young man, and you know, I think you get older, you should get wiser and
Not have to do that.
not
dumb
have
shit.
to do that dumb
Yep.
shit. But
Sometimes you got to teach a lesson.
it is what it is.
Well, I think because you did that, as you get older, your talking works better.
Yeah. Well,
Because
I
they
think,
know overhand right's coming.
well, because
I've talked myself
100%.
out of more fights than I fucking have gotten in.
and you know some of the toughest dudes I ever met, they were the best at de-escalating stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Because they don't want to go to jail.
100%.
Yeah.
And two, I mean, you hit somebody, you can hurt. You know, bad stuff can happen.
Yeah.
Bad stuff happen. Maybe you get hit, and bad stuff happen to you.
Or
know,
you
so-
break your hand.
Exactly, or worse.
You're
So,
out of work.
My training partner missed it when I was fighting the kid. My training partner tried to jump in. He threw about 4 punches. They all landed on the back of my head. I had fucking 4 massive knots on the back of my head from him trying to fucking sneak ones over me when I was on top of the kid, and he fucking caught me every time. Every time he caught me, I had fucking knots on my head for fucking weeks.
Well, that explains it. What else you got, Guy?
I could sit there all night. Don't fucking tempt me. Don't tempt me with a good time.
What you got?
What, my fight story?
No. So, well, you tell a fight story. Yeah, go for it.
Let's tell a story about Guy.
Go ahead.
Speaking about fights.
Oh, why don't you tell him the cramp story and I saved your
No,
life?
I'm going to tell him the 07 Nationals. I'm backstage. Earlier in the day, Guy had come up to me and he's like,
Is this a fight? Is this an argument?
well, shut up. And he says, hey, my coach says it's going to be between me and you.
He's such full of shit.
And I'm like, who's your coach? And he's like, Dave Palumbo. I'm like, all right.
That's your coach.
Yeah. When I turned pro, Dave coached me 07, 08.
And he says it's going to be between me and you. And I looked at him. I'm like, you're a little skinny. What do you mean?
That's the worst shit you can say.
He's
to a
full of
bodybuilder.
shit.
That's the worst bodybuilder you can say.
He's full of shit. If he would have said that, he would have lost his fucking front teeth. Fuck out of here.
I like him more and more.
Yeah, I go,
That's my hoodie.
That's the worst shit you can say to a bodybuilder. Yo, man, you look kind of skinny, bro.
yeah, I was like, how old are you? And he's like, yeah, don't worry about it. I'm like, all right. Well, good luck. So,
Then he saw me almost kill somebody online.
so a few minutes later, we're lining up to go out on stage.
You better tell this part right, not
and I
exaggerate this. you fuck.
hear like, fuck you. What the fuck? And I see Guy, like some kid bumped into him.
No. I bumped into the guy
Oh, yeah.
by
And-
accident. And I said, sorry, dude.
And the guy got mouthy with him. And then Guy was like, I will fucking chop your head off right now. And I'm like, what the fuck is this kid doing?
Give a fuck.
Because you called him small.
Yeah, he had a little chip on his shoulder. So I'm like,
It gets even better. After the show, I took second.
no. So we
Let
go
me
out.
tell this
Sure
part.
enough,
Let me tell this part.
He gets, go ahead.
I take second, right? And I'm fucking
was heated.
I was pissed. Jose beat me fair and square. He was better. He was bigger. He was harder. I needed to know what it was like to be a great loser, to be a good champion, and I realized that. But at the time, I didn't realize that. And I was backstage after he got first, I got second, and he comes up to me, fucking cocky midget, and he's like, "Hey, bro." I'm like, "What's up, man?" He goes, "Bro, you shouldn't be mad. You fucking lost to me. Like, you got second. You lost to me. That's fucking great." I was like, "Who the
No,
fuck
it
is
was
this
worse.
kid?"
I go, just think. You get to go tell everyone
You
you
lost
got
to me.
second to me.
I was like, "Who the fuck are you, dude? I'll kill you right here."
Back then, I would have fought.
I was gonna.
It'd been hard.
He said that to me. I went like this. I just went, and he just fucking turned around and walked away.
And
was
guess
like-
what? We were like best friends ever since.
I'll tell you a national story. When I won, 2001, I won. So I'm at the night before the show or whatever, and I asked my friend. I said, "Hey man, I need a diuretic water pill, right? You drop a couple. I need like maybe 2 pounds. All I need to pull off." And he had it. He goes, "All right, man." So he gave it to me, and I go, "You sure this is what I asked for? Because it didn't look right, right?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I'm like, "All right." So I get to the show. I take it. About 45 minutes later, I start pissing and pissing and pissing and pissing and pissing.
Lasix.
Boy, I wanted a Dazide. He gave me a Demodex.
Dude,
Right?
kick your ass.
And so, and it's like, it just keeps hitting you and hitting you.
Loop.
And so I feel I'm just like deflating, right? And I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? And my buddy Jay,
Big J.
Big J, I get up and I got to go piss again. I'm pissing. As I'm pissing, my whole leg cramps. Right? And so I'm standing over the toilet. I'm like, fuck. And I'm like pissing all over the toilet.
Like
and
a
shit.
dog.
Yeah, and I can't stop pissing. And then my other leg cramps up. And I'm pissing on the back of the toilet, the floor. And I'm like, fuck. And then my abs cramp. And I'm like, fuck. And I fall to the ground and shit. I'm like, dude, my legs are like locked. Like fucking locked. And some of the worst pain I ever felt. My abs are cramped. I can't straighten up. I'm like, fuck. And he comes in there and he's like, fuck, bro, put your dick up. And I'm like,
Put your dick up.
so I'm trying to pull my fucking shit up, right? So he'd help me up, and there's piss everywhere. He's like, man, what the fuck wrong with you, man? And I go, I'm fucking cramping, man. And I go, help me get to the bed, man. So he gets me to bed, and I'm laying in the bed. Every time I fucking move, something else would cramp. My hamstring, my quad and hamstring both were cramping. My calves were cramping. All my abs were locked. And I'm like, he's like, yo, man, you going to be all right? And I go, no, man, I'm fucked up, man.
Call the ambulance.
And I'm like, call ambulance. He goes, nah, man, fuck that. He goes and gives me a bottle of ketchup. He goes, man, drink this. Ketchup.
Yeah, the hell.
I go, motherfucker. So, it's like them Heinz, them glass ones, so the shit don't come out, right? I'm
Hit
like,
the-
I'm
hit the
trying to-
fi- hit the 57.
I'm trying to do it
Hit
and
the
shit,
57.
and My fucking bicep starts cramping. So I'm like, ugh, motherfucker. And so I'm trying to get this, and I'm hitting myself in the head with it. And finally, all the shit, it finally just comes out. I got ketchup all on my shit, man. I'm like, motherfucker. And, so I'm laying in my bed. Everything is cramped. Then my fucking chest cramps. Then I start getting scared. I'm like, yo, man. I said, call 911. And he turns the lights on. And I'm laying in bed, right? I got like these little shorts on, no shirt. And I'm like, fuck. He goes, yo, man, you're fucking ripped, bro. And he goes, look at your fucking legs, man. You ain't never been this hard, man. You're going to win, bro. You're going to be pro. I go, motherfucking die. I'm like, call 911. I couldn't reach the fucking phone. I'm trying to get to the phone, and I'm so locked up. I'm like, man, pick the phone up, man. Call 911. He won't call 911. He goes, you're going to win, bro. I go, man, you got to do something, man. He goes, all right, man, I'm going to call our friend. He goes, he got some quinine or something. I'm like, hurry the fuck up. So he leaves. So I'm in the room, and I'm still trying to get the phone, and I can't get the phone, man. That's how bad I'm cramped up. I'm in agony. This motherfucker takes forever. I'm like, 30 minutes or something goes by. He finally comes back, and he's all fucking disheveled looking. He gives me this fucking pill, and he gives me a little bit of water, and I drink it. You know, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes goes by, and I start to uncramp. And I finally start feeling better, and I'm sitting there, and I finally was able to sit up in the bed. I go, yo, man, what the fuck took you so long? He goes, yo, man, I went and met our friend. I was on the way back up, man, I seen this girl, man, Deshay, I know. And she's like, yo, you want to come in for a minute? He's like, yo, man, I go knock that shit out real quick, man. And I'm like, you couldn't come bring me the pill, then go back and knock it out? Nah, man, she's ready to go right then, bro. I couldn't pass that up. I'm like, some friend, bro.
You're
So,
dying.
I die. So the next day we compete, I win.
I told you. He's like, I told you.
He comes running backstage. He goes, yo, bro, congratulations. He goes, you going to thank me? I go, for what? He goes, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have won. I go, What the fuck you talking about? He goes, man, you'd have called 911. They'd give you IV. You wouldn't have won. He goes, it went for me. You wouldn't be pro. Fuck you, man.
Yeah, he's
Tell,
right.
tell him about a real friend that sticks around during a cramping session.
It was the exact same story.
Michael never heard this. Michael thought that one was funny. Michael think this was even better.
2000. It was very similar.
13.
12.
Yeah, you're right.
12.
You're right. You're right.
We did the Olympia.
Yep.
Then we went to India. And then we flew home. And then we flew to England. And by this time, I'd already flown Boston to Vegas.
Your sponsor was like, no more.
Yeah. And then Cardillo paid for my flight to England. And then we went to India. And like I had all the flying, you get dehydrated. And finally I get to England.
Stay with me.
Yeah, I stay with Guy. We shared a condo. And in the middle of the night, it's like 3 a.m. and everything locked
Yeah,
up.
I'm in my room, door shut. He's in his room, door cracked. And his room was literally, if this is my door to my room, his door to his room was like right where that window would be. It was like that.
We were opposite sides
Yeah.
of the door, so I could like bang on the wall and he could hear me. And in the middle of the night, I just started cramping.
I thought somebody broke into the apartment. It was like kicking the shit out of him.
So I'm like banging the wall, and he comes in, and
I just hear
I was like,
screaming.
my face was contorted. I was like, and he's
Butt
like,
naked.
he walks in and he's like, "What, buddy? What's up? What's up?" And I'm just like, "Oh," and he could see, and he goes, "Oh." I saw the look in his eye. He jumps on me. I'm buck naked, and he just punches my hamstring. And just punches it, and he's like digging in, and then it's starting to calm down, and I'm naked. And his face is right here, looking up at me, eye to eye. We're making eye contact, and he's going, "You fucking owe me, motherfucker!" Like, yeah. As he's doing it, my neck is like, and I'm like, I look like I had a stroke. And he luckily calmed me down. He ran in the kitchen and got me some soda. I started drinking soda. And we're both sweating, looking at each other like,
And you're still naked.
I'm buck naked.
It's like a weird porno shoot.
Yeah. And I'm like trying to cover up, but his head is literally up
I'm
my
like
ass.
this on top, like
And then we just made eye contact.
like he's
And the minute we made eye contact, he's like, "You owe me, motherfucker."
Hey, you at that moment, you know that's your boy though.
Yeah, for sure. It was beautiful.
You were inseparable since then.
Yeah.
and he beat me.
And I beat him. Oh, speaking of which, here we go. This is the show where Guy thought he was going to win.
What show is this?
Oh shit! This.
Show that to Branch.
Yeah, that's.
That's a pretty.
Yeah, it is pretty clear.
Yeah, no, pretty clear.
Oh, is this Nationals?
Yeah. That's the one where I said to him, like, "Come on, man. Just tell your friends you got to lose to me."
Yeah. You had some growing up to do there.
Since I'm not at Nationals Day, it's only right I post a pic from the day I, quote unquote, took my pro card in a closely contested battle with my man.
A closely contested battle. I think Guy was like 159.
I'm going to send this to myself.
I had to have 25 pounds on him at the time.
You did. And you were natural. I was juiced up.
Dude, I spent like 4 hours trying to cut weight to make weight.
Didn't you get, what show was it that, was it?
Was you natural there?
Yeah. I weighed in at 176. I was probably 182, 183 on stage. And Guy sucked down to 161.
161.
176 is his dick.
Yeah. No, it was
That's
beautiful
awesome.
times.
Yeah.
But I was also fucking almost 10 years older than him,
Yeah.
so it made sense.
Yeah.
But those are great times.
The
Those are
reason why
great
I thought I was
stories.
going to beat him is because the show before that was the USA's. I didn't know this at the time. But when the pictures came out of the USA's, he won, but he looked like shit. And I didn't know it at the time, but he went out and you got bombed the night before, remember?
All right, so this is a fucking horrific story. So I had a girlfriend at the time, and I also had another girlfriend at the time. And they both wanted to go to the USA's with me.
So you had to put him in a different part of the
Yeah. And then we went out to what was the Luxor?
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful
The big pyramid one,
steakhouse. And lo and behold, both of them end up at dinner with us, and they're both giving me the eye, and then they both caught on to it. So I just kept drinking. I was having
You're like, fuck it.
tequila, drank a bottle of wine. I was smashed, and I like stumbled into prejudging, and I'm like, I was dehydrated. I was, but I couldn't fucking. I ended up beating not Tarek, but Tamer Al
Tamer
Gundi.
Gundi.
He was, and he saw me at weigh-ins, and he's like, "What the fuck are you doing here? You already turned pro." I'm like, "No, I didn't. I just won nationals." And he's like, "Well, what? Why are you here?" I'm like, "Because I didn't take the pro card. I want to move up to middleweights." And I ended up beating him, and he's hated me ever since. To this day. And he's a judge. And he'd look at me from the judge's table. Jose! Okay. Or he called me Rose. Because
Yeah.
Brazilian. Rose! And never won a show when he was judging. No. I don't know why, but no, we get along good now. It was, and I did win it, but I did look like shit.
But you won.
But I won. And Guy was very confident thinking he was going to win. But I went into the Nationals. Nationals are a lot bigger than the USA's. You got to take that seriously. And
It's great stories.
yeah, it was great stories. Because Guy was what Guy is. The most hyper, crazy, confident guy. And he came up to me like that. Hey, I never met him before. And he's like, "Hey, my coach says it's going to be between me and you." And I'm like, "Who the fuck are you? What do you mean?" I thought he was, because he was thin with clothes on, but he was peeled. And he did have a good physique. He was ripped, but he was small. So
I never knew this.
yeah, I felt the need to say that to him, just to bust his balls. I'm like, yeah, just tell your friends, you got to lose to me.
I turned and walked off.
And he was like, "You are the biggest dick ever." And then he called me the next day. "Hey, buddy, want to hang out?"
That's all. What that man just says, lie.
I said you were the best person I ever met. I could get into a lot of other stories, but I'm not gonna.
Which one?
Just life stories.
I'm gonna hear one. When you gave me shingles.
Oh, there was another one. He came up to stay with me.
I can't wait to hear your version and my version of this one.
Yeah.
You want me to tell mine first?
Yeah. Well,
I come up to his house in July. I was married at the time. Bethany went up to New Hampshire to visit friends. Dropped me off at Jose to train with them. We were both getting ready for fucking Olympia. July, 8,000 degrees outside in fucking Massachusetts. Go to this motherfucker's house. This dickhead's got one AC unit in his fucking entire house, and it's in his fucking bedroom with the door closed. Sticks me in the fucking basement in a bedroom to sleep. 8,000 degrees in the basement. Fuck, first night I didn't sleep. Second night, I'm fucking sweating downstairs in the basement.
so here I'm gonna come in.
No.
So I go downstairs.
He thinks I'm stupid, and I'm
he
not.
plugged in an air conditioner
And turned it on fan and set it on a fucking
It was a
crate.
window unit, and he just sat it on a
crate
facing it towards the bed.
and turned it on fan. And then we went to fucking that next morning. I woke up and I had my shirt off, and I looked in the mirror and I had like a little dot here, and I was like, that don't look fucking good. And then it got worse. I'm like, we got to go to Target and get a fucking fan, or I'm gonna die here. 2 days later, went home. 2 days later, went to the doctor. And then that day, I was on fucking herpes medication for shingles on my fucking under my boob because of this idiot fucking sweating me out of his
Why do you
goddamn
get
house.
shingles from being hot?
Stress. You stressed me out. I couldn't
Because
fucking
you're a
sleep.
stressed nut.
You're a fucking.
If you were a normal human, you would have just sweated out and you'd have been fine. You'd have probably been more ripped. Yeah, he blamed me for that shit.
And then I go into his fridge. He's like, "Yeah, I got it. You don't have to bring anything. I got food." I open his fridge. There's beer, wine, hot dogs, and bologna.
Yeah,
And then we went to the food store. And
I'm hardcore.
And then we go to the food store, and he tells the fucking lady ringing us up, because we're together. He's like, he made it. She said something. He goes, "Yeah, we're gay, but like 76%, not 100."
We're only 76% gay. She was like, what? Guy pissed himself.
Oh, the fucking stories that we could tell, man.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
One day, I'm gonna write a book, like I tell, and just tell all the shit.
A lot of chapters about me.
Yeah, and tell all these stories that like I don't want to tell right now. I'm just gonna put it all in there one day. I'm gonna change some names, protect some innocence, but I'm gonna tell it all.
Change some girls'
I remember
names.
one. It's not even a story. It was a
Me?
video. You were backstage at Pittsburgh, and everyone's warming up. And Kai was like gyrating, like practicing.
behind me.
No, behind him.
Oh, yeah.
And he walked by, and you see him walk by him and go, and walk out of the room. His face was so horrified because Kai was like practicing his moves, and
2015.
Bridge just happened to walk in on it, and you saw his face like go, and then walk out of the room. And they showed it on something. It was either
They
on
don't care.
Generation Iron or something, but it was fucking hilarious.
I'm trying to figure out which instance that was.
You were all warming up to guest pose in
I think it was
Pittsburgh.
2015.
Pittsburgh, oh, okay,
2015, I
okay.
think. 2015.
And the face you had when he was doing his,
Kai had a black thing on. He had like black. Like
you're all like pumping up.
Yeah.
And you
I was there.
walked
It was
in,
2015.
It was a small
It was
room.
2015.
You walked in the room, and you might have done this.
It's
like
a room right there behind the stand. I know exactly.
Yep, it's like a hallway.
Veterans Memorial there in I think University of Pittsburgh. And so there's this little room. There's like the backstage area, then there's a little room, and then you walk out on the stage.
Yeah. Yep.
And so, we had it was
It's like a waiting room.
Yeah, me, Jay, Phil, Dexter, Kai, Dennis, whoever, and he was. I remember that because he had like this Kai outfit on.
Yeah.
And he was doing all this. I'm like, what the? I don't know what to say about that shit. This is the way the shit he was doing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't even know what to say about that. I just fucking walked off.
Yeah, it was great.
What was the story? Can you tell? I don't know if you can tell about a certain person laying down with the rats on him.
What?
All right, so I'm gonna tell it.
I heard this one before.
You can use other names if you'd wish.
So there's a certain pro bodybuilder.
One that might have been recently mentioned.
Yeah, and he used to always wear a red hoodie, right? And so it was Prague, and we were overseas, did the show, and after the show, promoter took us all to like a restaurant, hotel, whatever. Had the whole thing, had food for everybody, and everybody shows up, all the VIPs, kind of like the Olympia, we have the VIP thing afterwards, and they used to do, and everybody had to go, and
Oh, yeah, I've
all the
been there.
yeah, all the VIP ticket holders come, same thing, just in Prague. So we go, me, Neil Hill, Flex,
What year?
2014, 15, somewhere in there.
I was there.
Yeah, and so I forget there's a couple girls that competed. We're out there. We're waiting for the car to come to get us to take us back to the hotel. And Kai, we walk outside, and there's like this big circle, like driveway in front of the hotel. And Kai's like way over there, laying down in the gutter, bro. And Neil goes, "Is he all right?" I go, "Fuck, I don't know, man." And Kai's girlfriend, whoever,
the red hoodie.
yeah, hey, the red hoodie. He's laying in the red hoodie, and Neil goes, he goes, "Who is that?" I go, "It's Kai." He goes, "Is he all right?" I'm like, "Fuck, I don't know, man." I go, "What if?" He goes, "Why is he laying in the gutter?" I'm like, "Fuck, who knows, man." And so Neil walks over and goes, "Hey, man, you all right?" He had his hoodie up, and he looks up and he goes, "I'm good." Lay back down, put his hoodie up, and I'm like, he's like, Neil walks over and goes, "Why the fuck's he laying in the gutter, man?" I'm like, "Fuck, who knows, man." And we're sitting there, and all of a sudden I see this rat, bro. It's like a big Prague rat. I mean, this motherfucker. Yeah, it's like a Prague rat, bro. It's like this big.
One of them Texas motherfuckers.
Big tail. Yeah, he looked like some shit from Texas. We got like a pack rat, and it's running down the gutter, and this fucking thing's up, and I'm like, I hitting Flex and everybody. I'm like, yo, check it out, and he comes up, and Kyle's laying down, and he starts smelling his hoodie and shit, and we're all just sitting there looking, and all of a sudden this fucking thing jumps on his fucking hoodie, dude. Kyle jumps about 10 feet off the air. He's like, "Fuck!" And this fucking thing is like clamped onto the hoodie. And he's like, "Fuck!" And he finally gets it and throws it. And this thing flies fucking a million feet in the air, hits the ground. And dude, we're dying laughing and shit. And everybody's cracking up. And he just looks at us. Right back down, dude.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "You can't make this shit up, man." And He fucking went right back, laid right back down. Fucking car came and we left.
Fuck that.
We were in India in 2012.
I was there.
And do you remember that? And Kai passed out
Backstage,
And he
snoring
was
like a
snoring.
fucking loud as hell.
And Phil was standing over him like, what the fuck? Like, he ragging on him like,
He didn't wake up.
yeah. Like,
Well, there's
what the
some-
fuck are you doing?
Well, so the 2010 Arnold, it's me, Phil, and Kai going to be top three. This is prejudging, and so we're back there. We went out, did one round, came back. Kai's like laying on the ground, and they're calling us to go, right? And like, Kai, get up. Kai won't get up, and they send us. Finally, the head expediter goes, send them. So we go out there, and we're walking out, and Phil's behind me, and I hear Phil go, well, it's you and me now, brother.
Oh,
And
I
I'm like,
remember this.
Let's roll. And so we're out there. We do a whole round. Come off stage. That's in the prejudging. And Phil looks at me and goes, well, that's one less person we got to worry about. Because you miss a round, you get disqualified, right? I seen Kevin Larone. That happened to Kevin one time. They DQ'd him. I've seen it happen to some other bodybuilders, good bodybuilders. You miss a round, you're DQ'd. Dude, Kai wins the show, bro. And Kai, we're sitting there, they're doing a thing. And I'm thinking it's me or Phil, right? Fucking Kai wins. And Phil looked at me, he goes, because, Phil got second, I got third that year. And Phil looks at me, and I look at him, he goes, how the fuck did that happen?
What was that, the 07, 08?
No, 2010 Arnold.
Yeah.
And he won the Arnold because he won it 9 and 10.
Okay.
And 2010, it might have been 09, but I think it was 2010. And I don't know, I never understood it, bro. You miss a whole round, how do you win? Because you're DQ'd for that. That's it.
Yeah.
So he still won.
And it was still a questionable win. I remember that. Those videos surface on Instagram a lot right now.
Back in the day, baby.
Back in the day.
That's when it was good.
But listen, all three of you guys were bananas. Absolutely bananas. That version of Kai could win the Olympia today.
Yeah.
That version of you would win the Olympia today.
Yep.
That version of Phil would win the Olympia today.
Guaranteed.
No question. And that speaks volumes of I mean, these guys are great,
Yeah.
but that was a different
Time.
animal
Yeah.
altogether.
It's a different era, man. I think I've been asked this a bunch the past couple of years. I think every generation is different. We look at the guys in the 70s to the 80s to the 90s to our generation to the current generation. And I used to hate it when the guys in the 90s would bang on us. And
But they were right most of the time.
they had valid points.
Yep.
Things they said, but we had valid points too. I think if you look at the average weight of the guys that are going to step on stage tomorrow, they're heavier. They're bigger than we were across the board. I think.
Well, no.
I think so. If you take the average weight of everybody,
Well, the taller guys, but when you look at Hadi, Derek,
there's some
They're
exactly.
230s.
But I think overall, if you took all their weights and averaged it, I'm pretty certain their weight would be a little heavier than what.
yeah, because
We
you're
were.
looking at Samson and Andrew.
That's
And
some big dudes. I
Yeah.
mean, you take all those guys, and especially the guys, 9 or 10 of them are out now. But if you had them all there, they're big. They're bigger than
but
we were.
these guys are
but they're not
completely different 280.
correct.
Yeah,
they're not that.
290.
They're not
They're
that
not
hard.
peeled 280.
They're not that hard, grainy lower lats, lower back, just that deep striations. It's a different look.
Yeah.
Nutrition's different.
Drugs are different.
Drugs are different. There's a lot of everything's different. It's a different era. So
They
It
come
is.
up different.
yeah, they come up different.
Yeah.
We had a different mentality than they do.
Look how many shows you did to get to where you got
I mean,
versus what they
It
have
probably,
done.
on average, it probably took 10 years of training, not necessarily competing, but 10 years of training to be a pro. Some people did it a little bit sooner, some did it less. Even somebody like Phil Heath, it took damn near a decade to turn pro.
Yeah.
Of training.
And you competed
So-
quite a bit.
Yeah, you did more shows.
Yep.
That's just what we did. So, different times.
Yeah.
I think that's the number one, honest to God, out of everything between training, diet, drugs. The number of times that people compete today
Substantially
is
less.
their biggest Achilles heel.
Mm-hmm.
Because I always say you cannot get better at something by not doing it.
I made my best gains preparing for competition.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Always.
I had some of my
I mean-
best workouts and lifts and heaviest lifts during.
And think about this. Johnny, you know who has a record for the most competitions ever? Johnny.
Really?
He did 80-something competitions in his career.
Wow.
I didn't know that until about 4 or 5 years ago. And he didn't know it either. And then I think Ron Harris or somebody called him and said, hey, do you know who has a record for the most competing in the most competition? He's like, no. He goes, you. You go 80-something. Johnny didn't even know it.
Wow.
And he told me that. I go, you did 80-some competitions?
How many did you do pro?
26.
Ooh, fuck! I did more.
I was probably around the same as you.
I did 46
But
in 10 years.
It's crazy.
but I've trained with him, so basically, the other half of that was pretty much every time we trained, we would train all out because one of us was getting ready for a show, or both of us,
And all your shows were Olympias and Arnold's.
for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did the fucking
Everything.
West Flamingo Classic in New Zealand, and I did 2 New Zealands, 2 Torontos, 4, 5 New Yorks. You know.
See, I would do, the only time I did the other shows was after the Arnold. I might go and compete in Australia or Britain or somewhere. You know, after Olympia, you know, we go to
The
Prague
tours.
or,
Niagara Falls.
yeah, or some shit. Well, you know, it was like 1 or 2 weeks after the show, I'd go do it, and I was out. And
Yeah.
because my goal was to win the Olympia.
Yeah.
So if I was already in shape, it's no big deal to do 1 or 2 more shows. But after that, I was done because I always looked better at my first show. I could hold it for 1, maybe 2 shows, and then I faded. You know, Johnny, if he did 6 shows in a row,
He'd
he'd
get
win the
better.
6th. He'd win the 6th one.
Yeah.
So that's it's just different bodies.
Yeah.
Consistency is key. I think that's the biggest thing, man.
I got 2 minutes left on this one. That's my last.
How we close out? How do you want to close it out?
MJ?
No,
the
I
last
just
word.
feel like it's an honor to sit here with you guys and hear these stories from the past, and you know, really a pleasure to meet you for the first time, a little bit like this, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like it's been a great evening. So I'm super stoked and happy to have you guys doing this, and I
Appreciate
hope
you
we
having
can do it more times, because I think we haven't we have just touched the surface, you know.
Oh yeah.
And I want to thank you guys just for letting me sit here, nevertheless speak. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
No, we're all welcome. So I feel that's a little bit what our open community is for, you know.
No, I appreciate it.
I have one more
It's awesome.
question for you guys. So we all been retired for quite a while. So question, real simple. Do you miss it?
Fuck yeah. I miss feeling like a brick wall, impenetrable. I miss that feeling of being a fucking animal, like every day, day in and day out, of nothing can stop me. And now I'm somewhat human.
The adamantium's gone.
Yeah?
Guy?
Like we were talking about the other day, like, you know, when you go to the shows and stuff, like there's parts of it that I sit back and I miss, like walking up to the room where they're in the meeting, and like I'm on the outside of the meeting, they're inside, like getting prepped for the Olympia, and then like you smell the protein, you see the camaraderie, then you miss it, and then I step back and I'm like, yeah, there's a lot that I miss, but I'm glad I had the time that I had when I had it, because I don't know if I'd enjoy the time as much right now as I did back then when things were just a little different.
Well, you wouldn't know any better.
Yeah. So I'm kind of, now that I look back and see where it is and where it was, I'm glad I could say I was in it when it was what it was for me, because I don't think I would have the same memories right now with these people than I had with the guys that I went with. So I miss it, but even if I went back to it, I wouldn't be going back to it with the same people I had those memories with.
And Branch,
No, I don't miss it. When I trained those 15 years, I competed as a pro.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade it for nothing.
Yep.
I had the time of my life.
Yep.
I love it, but I've never, since I retired, have I ever once wished I was still competing.
Yeah.
When I walked away, I was totally good with it.
Yep.
And I had a lot of other things in my life. I've been preparing for several years for that day. And that being said, I'm still involved in it, and I still love what I do. I'm very blessed because I get to do what I love to do. I work with MJ and Gasp, not because I have to, but because I want to. And thank you for
yeah.
letting me, because it keeps me involved, and I get to do stuff like this, and I get to give back to the sport that gave me so much.
Yeah.
It's like asking if you miss that hot girlfriend. You know, yeah, fuck, it was great when that happened, but would I want to be with her now? Fuck no. So it's the same type of question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss her. She was hot.
Well,
Would I be with her? Fuck
No.
no.
well, I just want to say thank you to Michael for
Yeah, thanks.
doing all this. You know, we got a couple hundred athletes. Nobody does that.
Nobody
You know,
does what
nobody
Michael does.
in business inside of the sport loves bodybuilders more than this man right
Yep.
here, and he gives back a
More than
ton to
anybody.
the sport, more than anybody. So thank you for
Yeah.
doing all this.
It's my pleasure, and it's I live through you guys and what you achieved, and all your passion and purpose is kind of like feeding me, and I'm still not retired, so I need to keep on fighting. So you guys have to support me now
We're
because
here.
I'm still in the game.
Yeah, you are. You ain't retiring anytime
Nope.
soon.
No.
We can't.
Yeah.
And we're all fucked.
Yeah, we need to keep this
Momentum
journey going. So
Until next time.
yeah.
See you guys next year. Olympia Legends Dinner 2024 in Vegas.
Out.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you guys.
Thanks for being here.
Appreciate it.